On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, the dudes will be joined by Ravi Cabot-Conyers, aka Wim Wonder from Skeleton Crew. Tune in to learn about Ravi's journey to becoming a real deal Star Wars character in a series that fans seem to universally love. All this before he could even drive legally. They will also break down episode 7 of Skeleton Crew with some possible cast insights from Wim himself. So yeah, you don't want to miss this. Of course, they'll end the show with the question of the week responses and the latest round of Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie. Hey now, everybody! That's right, it's party time. The Star Wars Time Show is back for our first live stream of 2025, and we are doing it right. That's right. If you are not on the live stream and you're hearing that voice right now, those claps, my friends, we are bringing you the best guests we could bring to you for our first stream of 2025. You know we've all been loving Skeleton Crew since it dropped on December 3rd. We just watched episode 7 last night. We're going to break it down today, but guess what? We have the most special of guests we could possibly have for our return to work, and that is none other than Wim himself, Ravi Cabot-Conyers. All right.
Thank you so much, Beth, for having me on. I am so pumped.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you, man. I mean, this is a big get for our show. I would say you're our most famous Star Wars guest to date. You have now beat out and unseated Silas Carson, who played Newt Gunray and Ki-Adi-Mundi in the prequels. So you are the man, and we appreciate your time. So,
thank you so much.
Chat, I can see you, sort of. I'll do my best to feature you all out there, but I am having some technical issues today, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to pop the chats up for some reason. Nothing's coming into the feed, but who cares?
I'll monitor and just let you know if there's anything of note that comes up.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I don't know. Everything was literally working about 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, and now everything is broken. So, but that's life. That's what happens when you do a live, and that we're still going to have a great time. So, all right, Ravi. Well, you know what? Like I said, I mean, I have so many questions I want to ask you, but we did just watch another excellent episode of Skeleton Crew in S1E7. I believe the title is "We're All Gonna Be in Trouble Now" or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you and I were talking before you came on the show, and I asked, "Is like, so do you guys get to see any sort of what you filmed? Do you get to see any sort of cut before they actually release it to public?" And you do not. So You got to see episode 7 with the rest of us. I mean, what was your reaction to that?
It was our first time seeing episode 7. We did get to see 1, 2, and 3 in advance before the premiere. But episode 7, oh my gosh, it was so good. And Isaac is, oh my gosh, so talented. Such a nice guy too. He really took so much time. It felt like definitely the most intimate episode during the filming process. I mean, and Minari was so amazing, which is one of the films that Isaac did so good, so beautiful. I watched it before I even met Isaac, and he's really just such a nice guy. And the episode, it's really crazy. It's definitely very intense.
Yeah,
and things get pretty serious.
It's another cliffhanger. When I know some fans out there be like, "Oh, the cliffhanger." I was like, "Hey, that's good TV. That's what you want. You want an episode to end on with questions. What's going to happen next? What is Jod going to do? That is the key to everything." So, obviously, we're Nick and I will do our full breakdown for you fans out there once Ravi leaves the show. I don't want to eat up too much time with us just blowing hot air out of our pie holes, but I did kind of want to ask him about that episode. What's kind of a moment you remember that day of? Now, I guess I should first ask, when you filmed, would you film a full episode or would you film scenes out of order?
Most of it was definitely out of order, although the whole Claimsy scene in episode 1 was one of the first scenes we actually filmed all together, the kids.
All right.
So it was like pretty kind of close to our first interaction. So that was definitely cool. But yeah, it was all over the place. Right before Christmas break, we did that whole intense scene with Jod in episode 7, where he has the lightsaber and he's threatening us kind of, and that scene, it was such an intense day for all the actors and crews. Very, very draining, definitely emotionally and physically, but it was so much fun though. Such a good scene. And Jod, Jude, we didn't see him for the whole day because he kind of wanted the reactions to be kind of real, so we were all kind of isolated from him. And but we happened to be doing, we had planned to do a Secret Santa that day. So essentially, right after we finished filming one of the shots for that scene, we would go into Secret Santa, and which was pretty funny. And we were not expecting this whatsoever, but Jude actually came and surprised us and did the Secret Santa with us, which was so nice of him. And we had so much. It was so nice.
So this was nice after he terrorizes your characters. He then comes and gives you a Christmas gift. I guess that's the beauty of acting, though. I mean, you people have that ability to become someone else, and then the snap of a finger, you're back to Ravi, or Jod's back to Jude.
It is crazy. They are so different from each other, Jude and Jod. It's crazy how he pulls that off. But we all held space for each other that day, making sure we all felt comfortable. And all that sort of fun stuff, and we had so much fun, even though the scene was very intense. Yeah, that was definitely for a great experience.
Yeah, for you young actors, I mean that had to be taxing, that scene, and you in particular. I mean, I noticed Wim, an episode in particular, is quite emotional. I mean you're all bummed out that the adventure is about to end. Fern's trying to talk you back to it, and then you guys just keep hitting roadblocks. You get caught by the tractor beam. Jod's back. He captures you all. You lead that attack. And then when he does kind of have that, not an interrogation scene, but where he essentially is terrorizing you kids for the first time. I mean, the camera went to you a lot. And I'm guessing that took a lot of energy. I mean, how do you get into that state of mind as a young man?
Yeah, really, I take a bit of time. I've done all of my prep beforehand, my preparation. So I already have done my preparations before the scene, and then I just let go, and it all comes out.
So you have something even at 13 years old, or when you were filming, were you 10 or 11?
I was 11.
So even at 11, you have something that you can latch onto that can kind of get you sad.
Yeah.
That's a talent.
Listen. Yeah. Thank you. Listening to the scene partner, to your scene partner always helps. So I was really, really taking in everything that Jod was saying. All the intensity was fully going to my head, and it's so intense. It's so intense. As an actor and as a viewer.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've loved what Jude has done with this character. I think Jod Not in the Wood, whether he's a piece of crap or not in the end, is one of the best Star Wars characters ever created. And I think a lot of that, obviously, to Watson Ford's writing, but also Jude's execution of the character. So when you all first meet this guy, I mean, he's a legend. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time at a high level. Were you kids like, oh, crap, he's going to scare us? I mean, was he intimidating at first?
It was not because of how nice of a guy he was. Sorry, oh my gosh, my first interaction with Jude was probably the funniest thing that could happen. The funniest way you could meet a legend, essentially. So basically, we had done like maybe a week or two, just the kids before Jude. Before we had scenes with Jude, and so we had done stunt training beforehand, like 3 days before, and we were doing stunts in those few weeks before we met Jude. So our stunt coordinator, Colin, is so great, such a professional, and he resembles Jude a little bit. So when during the first scene, or during my first scene with Jude, he walked on the set to say hello to us all, And so I was getting ready to greet him. I was like, I was waiting for him to come, but I didn't know it was Jude, and I thought that it was Colin, our stunt coordinator, that walked up to me, and he goes, and I go to him, hey, Colin, how are you doing? And he's like, hey, Robbie, so nice to meet you. And I'm like, oh, that is Jude Law. That is Jude Law. And so, no, but he's such a nice guy, and we had so much fun getting to know each other, and really he's done so much amazing stuff. So being in the presence of someone so, iconic and such a great performer was amazing. And again, he's just such a nice person and so comforting. And,
that's good to hear. I mean, sometimes adults working with kids, I would assume, can get a little hairy. They may not be as open to working with a kid cast, especially when the kid cast are the ones driving the story. So that's great to hear that Mr. Law was quite the gentleman. Do you all feel like do you feel like he pushed you all? Do you feel like he made you all better actors, or you personally, or do you think you made him a better actor?
I really think, well, it was so. I feel like everyone, everyone in that environment had learned so much from the experience. And definitely we've learned, or I'll speak for myself, I learned so much from even just watching Jude alone and acting opposite him. Like, even watching on the monitors, it was crazy. Like, just even when it wasn't my scene, watching him, mind was blown. And some of the scenes I didn't even see, like the scenes with him and the pirates, I didn't see that until the episode released. So,
well, apparently that shanty he did, Ravi, he added that in. Like, I read an interview from BDH where she's like, that was just supposed to be lines, but Jude's like, hey, Bryce, what if I kind of turned it into a shanty? So
I was so impressed. Like, truly, I was so impressed while watching. It was, oh my gosh, that's such a smart choice too. He's so deliberate with all of his choices, and Jude started out pretty young too, so he's definitely got all of the experience. And so it's amazing working alongside him, and Bryce too, amazing. Now that you mentioned Bryce, amazing. Her episode was awesome. We all just worked so well together. It was so much fun. All the directors, amazing.
Now you bring that up, I did want to ask, and listen, I know they were all great, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but did you have a favorite director, or in the case of the duos, in the case of the man, I'm forgetting their names already. They did episode 4.
Daniels.
Yeah, the Daniels.
Yes.
The Daniels. Honestly, I really like. There's so many. They all have such different, styles. I did what I really loved though was the rehearsals with Bryce. We went. We wanted to get to know her, and she wanted to get to know us, and her partner Nia wanted to get to know us as well. So we had like rehearsals with her, and we watched the previs, which is basically just a roughly animated kind of demo of what it's all gonna look like. And it was really funny because, one, John was doing all the voices, and two, it was really funny seeing us all. They looked like us too, so it was really funny. And all the, it's so amazing working with them all. And John, for example, too. John always.
Yeah, you gotta mention John. He's the showrunner. So say Watts.
He always let me hang out at the monitors. Always, cool. Always. Well, one, when it was my scene, when it was my scenes, I loved watching playback, and he was so open about that. He loved us watching playback as well. And even when it wasn't my scene, I'd still want to hang out at the monitors and watch what was going on, because his talent, seeing how he directs. He has such an intentional directing style. And the Daniels, I feel like, had the episode where they were all like crazy, and like they got to go crazy with that episode. And it was all the directors brought something so unique, and I feel like that was so fun.
To jump in real quick here, Ravi, did John give you guys the ability to kind of mold your characters in a way that you thought really suited you, and really insert your own perspective into the characters?
I think he definitely did, but the thing about it was, I was already he literally said, Ravi, you are Wim.
Hey.
And I was like, I feel like I really am. I felt like so connected and so similar to Wim that it really didn't feel like I had to bring, like, there wasn't much that I needed to, tweak about him to make him more like me, because he already was so much like me. And even the differences that I had with my character were so, fun to play with. And the circumstances are, of course, so different between me and Wim, but that's what's fun. That's what's fun, getting to try something new, be in someone's shoes, especially for this extended period of time, 7 months. It was a long time to be someone different. And, I'm so happy with the character. I'd love to play him again.
So awesome. You guys, you shot for 7 months. Did the kids get together before you all began shooting so you could kind of start to kind of feel each other out and form those bonds?
Definitely. We had, we did a bunch of little bonding exercises / activities, kind of. We did bowling. Oh, Mario Kart and Mario Party.
Oh boy, how many fights did we have over that? Mario Kart always causes some arguments.
Oh yeah, we didn't even know each other yet, and we were like,
blue shell.
Exactly. We went to frozen yogurt. Ryan and I went to frozen yogurt every night after set, but after shooting. But beforehand, we also got frozen yogurt. We sang Hamilton together while doing schoolwork. We already got to know each other so well that it already felt so natural, and we were sharing such a unique experience. So yeah, that's another thing. We all were sharing such unique experience.
I know that. How awesome is that?
We got to know each other so well. It was great.
Do you all stay in touch now? I mean, I'm sure you saw each other for the press tour and whatnot, but do you consider these people lifelong friends at this point?
Oh yeah, definitely. I texted them we texted a few days ago, so
Awesome.
We're definitely so close, but especially that scene where we're eating the oatmeal kind of thing, the Jod.
Yeah, Jod slop. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Jod Nick Stank special.
Yeah, exactly. But that I feel like that scene really connected us and brought us together a little bit more, because it was a scene, with just us, and there are other scenes where it's just us, but I feel like that one in particular, it was pretty early on, so definitely
with the show coming to its close relatively soon. Do you think that you guys may come together and just have like a rewatch, or watch remotely from wherever you guys live, just to relive those moments?
About that would be such a good idea. That is such a good idea. That is definitely that is something that I feel like we've all been thinking about for a while. That how much fun that would be.
Watch party at Ravi's.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, I hope that would be so much fun. I hope we all see each other again soon, and we miss each other already. Awesome. It's only been like a month maybe.
Yeah, since the tour.
We already miss.
Well, one last question on the kid cast. I was curious. Did they maybe initially, or maybe once you started filming, did they keep you and Robert separate so you guys kind of formed your bond, and then the girls formed theirs? Because going into the show, you guys were two disparate groups of friends, didn't really hang out or know each other, but through the adventure, you now have become this foursome. So was there any intentional kind of keeping you away from the girls early on, or no?
No, definitely not, because in the end we do become a group, collective, no. We've all been, together, and all the bonding activities were together, and so that's what was so fun about the initial interaction with Fern, and when Neil and Wim encounter Fern and KB. That's what made it so fun. We'd already known each other.
Well,
we'd already known each other pretty well. Even though
that speaks volumes to the quality of acting that you all are putting forth. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke just because you're on the show. I mean, we've talked about this all season long. This cast of kid actors is one of the most impressive collectives of young people acting that I've seen, and you really all are holding your own with Jude and the other adults. Most of the adults wearing, makeup and alien heads, but really just doing a darn fine job. Speaking of the fandom, I am interested because Nick and I and really our fans, we were kind of worried about this, knowing the Star Wars fandom and how they can get sometimes. Did Lucasfilm purposely sit down with you all and be like, hey, we're going to protect you on social media, or don't pay attention to this stuff? Or, I mean, was there?
Yeah, they made that such a priority. Okay. I feel like we've had a few like that, maybe like one or two. And, they made us feel so comfortable. They did a perfect job with that.
Good.
But I really I'm happy about how positively,
yes,
for the most part, how positively this is.
The show, I think
we're really enjoying it. It's so fun.
It's definitely, I think, surprised a lot of people. I mean, Skeleton Crew, they're like, all right, Goonies in space, Pirates of the Caribbean, Star Wars, I'll check it out. And then once everyone started watching, they're like, holy crap, this is awesome. So kudos to you all. Hey, do you remember your first day, and what was that like? What was the first scene you shot?
I do remember my first day. I remember that so clearly. Oh my gosh. I specifically remember looking like, I literally looked like this. Like I was looking around the huge stage. I was so.
Was it Ravi, was it a volume day one? Were you on the volume, or were you on another stage?
It was one of the scenes in my bedroom.
Oh, great set.
It was, a huge, it was like a huge stage. And then there was a little, it was pretty big. Even though my room is not exactly that big, it was built like to scale, like almost. It was really impressive. Like everything was practical. Everything, I guarantee you, everything, or 99%. 99% of everything in my room was practical.
Impressive.
So it made it so easy. And I oh my gosh, I remember how nice John Watts and David Vengus, who was our first AD, and the rest of the crew, of course, were all so amazing. And Jon Favreau, I did see him on the first day. He was, oh my gosh, amazing. So nice. Made us feel so comfortable. And it was just me on the first day, so I hadn't met Tunde or seen the rest of the shot with the rest of the kids yet. But it was amazing. I was so just constantly in awe.
Piggybacking off of that, so your first scene, you were in your room. What was the first scene that really made you say, wow, I'm in Star Wars? Like, this is the first time that it really feels like I'm in Star Wars.
Port Borgo, seeing the Jawas, and the Jawas, and the rest of all the different alien creatures was definitely my pinch me moment.
How big was that? How big was the Borgo set, Ravi? Was that?
Oh my gosh, it was gigantic. It was gigantic, and it was 2 stages, I believe. So it was huge, and the volume screen was gigantic, and it felt like we were really like on the planet because of it was obviously so big, and all the props, and made it feel so 3-dimensional and not just like a volume screen. It really felt like we were actually there. That was the set that I walked into the volume screen. It was too realistic. Like they got to make it a bit more easy to tell this story.
I'm assuming the volume was like what the shield that was going out to space, essentially. Like
it was so it was really it was crazy. Watching back to it was crazy, and back to the aliens. How much I enjoyed being in the environment as the aliens. The aliens were all so real looking, thanks to Legacy VFX, who makes amazing Star Wars effects.
Yep.
And they looked so real. Like they had like blinking eyes, and like if they had like ears or a snout or a nose or whatever, it would like move with the remote control. And it was just so funny seeing the creatures on set. And then, like in between, seeing one go grab a bag of drinks. And, just like,
there's Brutus eating some nachos.
It's just so funny, in a completely different environment, walking around in the real world, and just watching one guy take his mask off and just to put food in his mouth. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's so crazy.
How were they as acting partners? So, I mean, you obviously act next to Neil for most of the show. Was it easy to act next to somebody who's in like a full suit, or would you find it a little bit easier to work with like a normal human actor?
I think they're both equally so fun. But for Robert, who plays Neil, it was him. He had a camera rig, which was basically a helmet with 2 bars that wrapped around it, movement so that they could then add it onto the helmet in post. And then Casey Barrowman, who was his photo double, would come in for some takes and would have the full like animatronic head on and everything. And Robert would wear like the gloves and stuff, but Casey had the full animatronic head, which had the moving eyes and ears and snout or trunk. And it's so both equally are so fun, and they are so different, but it's equally the same amount of fun. Yeah.
Did Robert have to go do a bunch of VO afterwards, or did they capture his lines when you guys shot your scenes?
Honestly, a mix of both. Yes, he did do some VO, and then there would be some. He still had like a mic and everything, so it would still pick up what he was saying. But I think a little bit of both. But yeah, he got to see some of the show early. Lucky him.
Ooh. Look at that. Wasn't he just in that Dear Santa movie? Was that him with Jack Black?
It was.
I can't remember.
It was. Oh my gosh. So good. So good. Oh my gosh. And he got to work alongside Jack Black.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a fun time for your buddy there.
Fun guy.
Going back.
But all of us, sorry, one more thing. All of us got to work alongside the amazing Jaleel White and Cisa Gray, who are amazing, amazing people, amazing actors. We had so much fun with them. Shout out to them. Awesome people. We had so much fun with them. We didn't see them too much because they weren't in too many of our scenes, but they were with us a lot in episode 7, and that's when we really all got to get to know each other. And unfortunately, Cisa wasn't at the premiere, but Jaleel was, and we had a whole conversation at the premiere on the red carpet. So they're all amazing. They play Kona and Gunter, for those who don't know. Amazing, just amazing.
Gunter. I like how Jod says Gunter. He pronounced it the best this week in this episode.
He's inspired.
Yeah. Hey, what was the hardest scene for you? And if we haven't seen it, don't worry about it. What's the most challenging one that we've seen so far?
Let's see. That is a difficult one. Probably I'm going to say most of the screaming scenes were very intense. Like the one where we're going through hyperspace and we're like, definitely that one. Definitely lost our voices that day. Ryan mentioned that in one of our interviews. That was definitely really intense and really crazy. And it was even more intense because there was a volume screen in front of us that was actually hyperspace. And so it was a little bit scary. And definitely the scenes on Ad Akron too were so, oh my gosh, so sad and so intense. Like the one where we're like about to go into war was very intense, but it's all
that general was kind of a jerk, I must say.
He's such a nice guy though, like genuinely, like in real life it's so funny.
In real life, great.
The difference, it's so funny. But seeing all the there were like the little kids on the planet, being like sent into war is like
wild.
It's crazy.
Well, your character was ready to rock. I mean, I love when you grabbed that big blaster and
I was ready with that blaster.
Yeah, he went flying there. Neil, he's all about peace and love.
So much fun. When I'm like holding it without. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
Were you on a rig or did your double get yanked?
I was on a wire. I also had to pretend that blaster was heavy. It was made out of foam. It was about as light as a piece of paper. So I was like, nice, lifting it. I had to go like that, and I was pretending it was heavy, and that was very fun. It looked like it was actually heavy, especially with the sound. The sound work too made it look like it was so heavy. But I was on a wire, and they my double did like the initial like flying back, but I did like the rolling part, like where I slide on the ground, kind of.
Okay, got it.
Then,
do you enjoy doing your own stunts?
God.
Do you wish they would let you do more?
Understand. I love. Oh my gosh, I love stunts. This Skeleton Crew was the first stunt work I've ever done, and oh my gosh, I was so into it. we did. The cool part about it was we did get to do our own stunts, and one of the reasons for that is because George and Colin made us feel, who are two stunt coordinators. George was on Spider-Man with John. They made us feel so comfortable, and we were already professionals by the time we started shooting, thanks to them. But it's so much fun. Stunt work is so much fun. I've always thrown myself on the floor pretty much, because I love, acting out characters, in particular from Batman. They throw themselves on the floor. 66 Batman, they throw themselves on the floor a lot. And I always thought that was really cool, so I would throw.
Sounds like you have a wrestling career in your future. You start taking hits on the mat, man. They're on Netflix now, right? You got to get that cash.
True. But my teacher did get a bit mad at me for throwing myself on the floor a few times. But,
I mean, you're a valuable asset as Wim.
Exactly,
we can't have Wim hurt. We can't have Wim hurt.
We learned how to fall properly. So now whenever I'm playing soccer or something at school and I fall over.
Oh, you know how to flop professionally now.
I'm okay. Let's keep playing.
Awesome. So
valuable skill.
Yeah, we talked about a difficult scene. What about the most fun and rewarding? And the same deal as the last one. If we haven't seen it yet, give us one from episodes 1 through 7.
Oh my gosh, there's so many to choose from. Definitely, I loved doing the reshoots. The scene that I did with Fern, the one on Ad Akron, the one where she was crying and I was.
Oh yeah, in the window. Yeah.
That whole one. Yeah. That was not originally in the script. We added that in reshoots. So that was, oh my gosh, it was such a sad.
Yeah, that was a heavy one because Ryan.
Such a developmental episode, and such a growth episode, and that scene especially. Fern was feeling vulnerable in that moment, and Wim too. And it was a quick but important moment that we added in, but so good. So I love how it turned out, and it's really emotional, but I love it.
I'll be honest, the show does seem to be kind of pushing Wim and Ryan together, not necessarily as a couple, but as the leaders of their factions. You can see the respect has been gained between the two of them at this point in time. And it has to be because they're in dire straits right now. Hey, Robbie, going into this, did John and Chris reveal the full story? Or did you just learn each day you shot an episode what you're getting into?
Honestly, it was kind of like that. Obviously, we had the script and stuff, but I've read the script. I read the script so many times, but
how hard is it to memorize your lines, honestly?
Honestly, not too difficult. Not difficult at all, actually. I've developed a few strategies that help me.
What a professional.
Really just thinking of the thing, but really just thinking of the circumstance and being in the moment is always helps. And there's nothing really to memorize. Just listening and observing. I'm absolutely blown away by that skill. I mean, when you actors are able to, it's like when Jude had to deliver that monologue, just being able to memorize all those lines, but also deliver them as the character, get the physical performance in. Exactly. That's something I also think you excel at as a young actor. And a lot of times young actors, I think they struggle with the physical side of acting and showing emotions on their face and in their body. And I really think you do a great job at that. We saw it last night in episode 7 twice. We had kind of grumpy, solemn Wim to start when you were sad that the adventure was going to end. And then when Jod was terrorizing your buddy, you stood up for him, but then he turned his vitriol on you, and you could just see poor Wim crumbling from the inside. And that's a credit to you. So I can't believe how well you and your castmates have been pulling off these roles as young actors. So you really should feel proud of what you guys have put on film. Did you get to keep anything from the production? Maybe your little action figures you were playing with in episode 1? Yes, I kept A few.
Do you have a
A
little
few
whim at
items
least?
from the floor. Like, oh yeah. Oh my god, that would have been amazing. I would have loved my walkie-talkie. My speeder bike, 1,000,000%. I would have
Yeah.
wanted that more than anything in the world. But I took some floor dust. And I know that sounds really weird, but there was like, like on episode 6, the Bryce's episode, the like kind of snow trash planet. I took some snow off the ground and I put it in my pockets. And when we wrapped, I kid you not, I emptied my pockets when I was taking my costume off for the last time, and I found dirt. I found moon sand from episode 3.
Ooh.
I found that snow. All the different environments, you name it, I had it in my pockets, and I did take some of it. And one of our camera people, Chris Thrasher, who's amazing. He made me he put in a bottle a bunch of different sand and different floor dust from each environment.
I actually like that. I like that.
That's super cool.
I know, it was so nice. I was so blown away. And he also gave me a roll of tape because I would like to lay out my own marks and even other people's marks.
Look at you.
He literally gave me a little gaffer tape, and it was in my color too. I had.
Did you get an additional credit as like a gaffer, second gaffer, fourth gaffer maybe?
You got to get that.
I did in everyone's hearts. Yeah, but I was all around. I would go to the sound department, to see how they did stuff. I would pull focus. I got invited to the editing suite to see all that, and it was.
Oh, that's Robbie. Would they edit while the film was coming in?
Yes, it was. Sometimes when we were literally like taking a break or something, like we had just cut and they were like, all right kids, you can go take a break. 2 minutes into the break, I walk back on set to see what's going on, and I see John on his computer piecing together the scenes, and I'm like, already, like from the shot that we literally just did. And it's so
Man,
funny,
that's the power of digital. I mean, that's why George Lucas pushed for this medium way back when. I mean, that's what digital.
It's so cool though, seeing how all the editing gets done. The communication between the director and the editor, the directors and the editors. So cool.
Quick question on the behind the scenes stuff, like you were mentioning. Is there anything cool that you learned while on set, whether it be during your performance or while you were checking out all the other behind the scenes areas?
Definitely. Oh my gosh, I learned so much. There's so much stuff I learned, as I said, watching Jude is a masterclass in and of itself. But I did learn about, there's so much on such a wide scale production. There is, so much communication that goes into it. And, Bryce actually called me to the editing suite. So, paying attention to, because she's such a phenomenal director. She's an actress too. So, being both of those is so cool. 1 and 2, she really knows how to work with actors, which I really admire. And, I just pay attention and, observe to everything that's going on, because there is constantly so much going on. Like I loved, looking at props department, the camera department, sound department, everything was so cool to me. And I learned so much, and it's really just such a huge learning experience. Definitely.
Do you have a personal favorite episode?
Oh, I'm going to say either 6 or 8 are my favorites. I did love the last episode so much. That's
the moment with
close fourth, I would say, and third, episode 1 is my third favorite, I would say. But
I know what you're saying on 6.
Yeah, I loved 6, and 8 is just, oh my gosh, 8 is so good.
Oh boy,
it's such a long episode. It's over.
Yeah!
Oh yeah, there we go. Awesome.
It's crazy.
There's an exclusive people.
Season 2. That is what I'm gonna say as well. We need a season 2.
Yes, sir. I was gonna ask you.
We agree.
Be explained and stuff.
Robbie, have John and Chris shared their ideas about season 2? I mean, they put it out in the press, kind of,
Yes. In fact, we had a little dinner with them at the hotels during the press junket, and they were like, so guys, what do you want to happen in season 2? And we were like, oh, so all right, we're doing this now. Okay.
Hey.
We went from talking about like carrots or whatever to talking about this now. So I obviously can't say what we talked about, but there's some crazy ideas going around, and it's so fun. Just like, oh my gosh, there's so much I want to say.
Yeah,
right now,
yeah. Don't get yourself in trouble. We know that they talked about doing a time jump, which I think is super smart. And
yep, I want to see this guy and his friends get up to more.
All right.
More
All
stuff.
right.
Maybe some more scooter bike action.
Oh, look at this. He's got all the little whims out there.
Maybe we can get you back on when season 2 is confirmed, and we can pick your brain when that happens.
Celebration. Hey, outside of your own character, who was your favorite Skeleton Crew character and why?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say Mr. SM33. He's so cool. I don't know if I can forgive Jod after
terrible. And he almost stepped on Snowball, the little mouse.
I know. Like he pushed him to the side.
Well, I'm glad he at least did that. He's not a complete POS. He at least spared Snowballs.
he's not a big meanie.
I love SM. He's such a funny character. Nick Frost's performance was amazing. We didn't even get to meet him until the premiere.
So who would voice SM as the puppet then, or would they pipe Nick's voice in? How'd that go?
So there was a puppeteer from Legacy named Rob who wore SM as a puppet. Basically, it was like rigged up to all his limbs. So when Rob would move his limbs, SM would move his limbs as well. So that was really cool. And he would do the line. He memorized the lines, and I thought he was going to be the actual voice for a little bit.
Did he talk like a pirate bot like Nick? I mean, was he like, "Arr" on set?
He sounded exactly like Nick. It was
perfect.
It was so
perfect.
crazy. And when I met Nick, when we all met Nick during the premiere, we literally met him when they were taking the pictures. Like when we were in front of the Millennium Falcon, that's when we met him. So we were like, "Oh, hey, how are you? All right, let's take a picture." It basically went down like that. And David Lowery, he loved doing SM's voice. Let me tell you.
He was a director on 2, right?
He was 2 and 3.
Okay.
He loved doing all the voices. He was so engaged with all the puppets, and those were probably his favorite.
It's funny you say that, because in a press release or an interview before his episodes came out, he talked about how much he enjoyed the practicality of his episodes and the teak that he got to work with, bringing back from the Ewok movie there. So awesome stuff.
Oh my god, I love that guy. That guy was a little bit scary. The puppeteer was really funny. I love the way they run. First of all, like it's like.
Have you watched the Battle for Endor then, Ravi?
I've seen some of the scenes featuring. I haven't, but I've seen some of the scenes featuring the Teaks, and it's so funny. How I just love. There's something I love about them.
Yep, Teaks and Ewoks hanging out on Endor. Hey, I know.
I know. Oh my gosh, crazy! It's crazy. So many cool creatures and stuff that we got to work.
All right, Robbie, I know our time's kind of coming to an end. Do you got a couple more minutes? We could ask a few more questions?
Of course.
All right, cool. These are coming from our channel members, so they actually pay to listen to us. So they're awesome. So they get a little perk. And this week, they get to ask Ravi some questions. So this one comes from Beast Mobile 96. How relatable is the character Wim to Ravi's personality? So how relatable is Wim to you?
Definitely so relatable. There were so many similarities I found. His excitedness, his when I am connected with something, I'm connected with it. For Wim, that would be Jedi and stuff. Love for family, love for friends and people around him. His side. His adventurous side, like I said in the beginning, the circumstances are of course so different than Wim and I are going through. Wim is lost in space, he's died. He's this close to dying at least 100 million
few times.
So circumstances very different, but I'm a pretty content guy, I'd say, and he's he's having a rough time, of course. His situation at home, his dad isn't around too much and he doesn't have a mom. So, his dad's always working. So he doesn't pay as much attention to him as he'd like. And he thinks that he doesn't want to grow up, essentially.
Well, yeah, you and Wendell had a good moment this week with the the reunification of the Whims. I don't know if you guys have last names or not, but that was a great moment with dad and son, who, like you said, I mean, they're you could tell their relationship was a bit fractured. Maybe we'll learn about Wim's mom in season 2. You never know what happened to Wim's mom.
That would be so awesome. I've been, the whole time we were shooting, pretty much, I was speculating so many different theories, but yeah, as I said, Wim doesn't want to grow up, and neither do I, for that matter.
I have a feeling you were a Star Wars fan coming into this, right?
Oh yeah, I was.
Because you can see that through Wim. I mean, let's be real. Wim is essentially us. I mean, he loves the concept of Star Wars and Jedis and starships. Living on Atten, he's never experienced any of that. He just thinks it's in a story like we see in the movies, comics, whatever. Yeah. So, I think again that was you. I mean, playing with those toys. One of my favorite moments, when you and Robert mimed the lightsaber fight in the first episode. Oh my goodness, dude!
The training for that was so. I have a video of us. When we were doing the training for that, and it was so funny.
Was it choreographed that way, or did they let you kind of have some freedom?
It was choreographed. Yeah, we had to choreograph that, and we'd done it so many times, even not during training. We just wanted to do it for fun. Like we would act it out for fun, even like when not filming,
it was so classic, man.
Not necessarily in preparation, but it's just so fun, and it's so it just goes to show how they are really Star Wars fans in Star Wars.
And it shows, man. It shows through your performances. Here's another question from the fans, Nova Toymation. What's your favorite memory you made while filming Skeleton Crew?
Oh my gosh, that's such a difficult question, because there's so many, things that did over 7 months. There's so many things that happened, but definitely all of the friends I've made, and the friendship, and all of the collaboration and friendship that went into the filming process. Like as I mentioned before, Ryan and I would get like frozen yogurt every night, because we were already so close. All of us, we were all so close, and so we all just had so much fun, and every day was a new exciting memory to be made. And really, this sounds crazy, but when we did schooling in our schooling with our crazy teacher Lois Yarashevsky, it was almost like we were the adult and she was the kid.
Oh boy, that sounds like fun.
She was that crazy. Yeah, no, it was.
Would you guys have to do school before or after the day shoot?
It was mixed in, like while they were like setting up a new shot.
Got ya. There's a lot of downtime on sets, people. If you've never been on one, I mean, you could sit there for 15 hours and work an hour or two at most.
That's true, but there was one day like that. But now I feel like I'm always, even when I'm not like on camera, I feel like I'm always doing something on set. Whether it be reading the script, going over my lines, studying the character.
Well, didn't you like to push the camera dolly or something? I saw like a BTS where like you like pushing some gear on set, right?
I did do that. I moved the dolly. I pulled focus. Oh gosh, what else do I?
You're going to be a director at 18. You know this?
Oh my god, I would love to do that. I love directing. I held the boomstick. That is so heavy. They make it look so easy. Like our boom operator, Catfish, he's like, well, first of all, he's like 6'9", but he made it look so easy. He made it look so, like, he was just holding it flawlessly for like 9 hours straight, and it was crazy. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Got to build up those shoulders.
I don't know how they do it.
All right, another question.
Makeup too. Oh my gosh, sorry. One more thing. I did my own makeup sometimes, and I would put on mustaches.
I bet they like that when you walked out.
I would have a new mustache every day. And really funny, quick story. One day, I I put on a mustache, and it was still during the COVID time, so we had masks and everything. And we had just finished the rehearsal, and they knew that everybody knew that I had the mustache on. They were like, "That's funny." And then when we actually started shooting, they called action, and I still had the mustache on. They didn't realize until like 30 seconds into the scene that I still had the mustache on because they were so used to it, and I did it like every single day, pretty much.
Wipe it with CG in post.
Maybe in season 4 or 5 of Skeleton Crew, you'll be able to grow out a real mustache, and then there you go. You're living out your own dream.
Robbie with a sweet beard. All right, one more for our fans, and I got a couple more, and I will let you go. Or if you need to leave, just let me know. All right, man. This one comes from League of Extraordinary Sixthers. When you auditioned for Skeleton Crew, what were you told this project was about, or what was the title? I think I know the title, but were you told what it was about for the audition?
Not too much. No, not really. There was all I knew was my character was really adventurous, and had a really adventurous side to him, and the scene, we had dummy sides, which basically means it's not the actual scenes that are going into that are in the script, but they were made for the audition process, basically. So it was actually Neil and I, who was called Ned, and I was called Wyatt, were originally at a bus stop, and I said that I found buried treasure in the woods, and
that's
I
wild.
specifically remember the thought in my mind. It felt so much like I thought it was gonna be like Spider-Man, kind of, like Spider-Man and Ned, Peter and Ned. I thought it was gonna be kind of like that.
It's when you mention those names, Ravi. I mean, Nick and I, we're fans. We do some digging into leaks and whatnot. But those were the first names that leaked out. Now I remember it. It was Ned and Wyatt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, they were.
Yeah.
They were. I do remember that. And there was oh my gosh. Kylie was KB. KB was Kylie.
Yep.
And Fern was Faye.
Yeah.
And,
Those were the 4 names that made it out.
And one of my audition scenes was with Kylie, and it was when she was like malfunctioning, or her eggs were corroded. We were on the beach, and she was like, nothing was really happening to her. It was just that she was kind of venting, and felt vulnerable in that moment. But yeah, no, it was called when it was called like Untitled something during the audition process, but then it was called Grammarodia. That was its code name. Because
and were you Bart? Were you Bart?
I was. And,
so was everyone? Was Neil Milhouse? I mean, was everyone a Simpson character?
He was.
Okay.
And Fern was Lisa.
Got it.
And he was Maggie. And yeah, so funny. That was the names on our little on our parking spots, and But yeah, for the audition process, I taped for casting, and then I talked about the character with John Watts. And he told me I got the job without telling me I got the job, essentially. And I had no clue.
Yeah, I was going to ask, who broke the news to you? I mean, what was that day like when you got that call?
I specifically remember it. I was not expecting it whatsoever. I was in my room, and my mom was like, honey, I'm on the phone with your managers. And I was like, all right, here I come. And and she was recording for some reason. I was like, wait, why are you recording? And
reaction shot.
But I was like, okay, whatever. And then I had auditioned for Macbeth, the Broadway Macbeth. I'd never done Broadway before, and I auditioned for that, and I booked it, or they'd offered me the job, and it was either that or Skeleton Crew. So my managers were like, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to do Macbeth. But
shucks,
the force is strong with you because you got Skeleton.
Yeah!
And I
feel like
yes, and I screamed for
that's a good
more than 30
consolation
seconds.
prize.
Oh man.
Yeah, but John had already told me. He went, or at the end of the call where we were talking about random stuff. He was like, "All right, Robbie, I look forward to seeing and working with you soon." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh.
And I was like, I had no clue what he was talking about. There was so much going on, and oh gosh,
that's so awesome,
I had no idea what he was talking about. And then my mom was listening in, and she was like, "You realize he kind of offered you the job?" And I was like, "No, he didn't." And then I found out. But yeah.
I got one question to throw in here for you, Ravi.
Mm-hmm.
How cool was it to play with a lightsaber behind, like both, like
the
in
episode
scenes and then
5
off stage.
the episode 5 gag was one of the greatest lightsaber gags I've ever seen, where you
Yeah.
you ignite it the wrong way.
Oh,
And
that
I
is
believe
so
that you're-
whim. That is so
Yeah.
whim. His one opportunity messes it up just like that.
But your favorite lightsaber color is blue, right? And you got
It
to,
is.
to
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, I was so excited. I was so excited. Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. It had like, it was the lightsaber, like, I don't know what you call it, like handle, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was holding that, and then when I ignited it, they like swapped it out. It was like they swapped it out with it was like a little rod attached to the handle that like lit up blue. And it was so cool. And then when I had to throw it, I did the like screaming moment,
Yeah.
and then there was a jump cut, and then they switched it out, and then I threw it. And
It's such a great looking scene. You're like,
So
"Hey, here he
fucking-
comes, he's a hero after all." You screw it up, and then you scurry right over to your friends, and you hide away like, "Oh crap!"
Exactly. But don't forget, I got us out by hitting that.
Heck yeah, man!
did.
Down
did.
the trash chute, fly boy. Hey, we'll do. I'll start wrapping things up here. I know you got to go, but just a little background for people who don't know. I mean, this young man's been acting since 4, I believe. You did a commercial, right? What was your commercial? Your first gig?
It was for Band-Aids, and
Ooh.
oh my gosh, I loved it so much. It was there was a huge bathtub with overflowing bubbles, and I was just in awe. And then my first movie was Justine on Netflix, and I was about 6, and that's when I really like truly fell in love and was so connected with acting, because it was my first movie, first full length movie, and it was so I had such an amazing cast too. Stephanie Turner's amazing, and she plays my mom, and oh my gosh, so it was such a fun experience. It was so nice. And then I did the Resident, was my first series, I believe, and that was intense because I actually died in that series. So that was definitely it was crazy.
Did you have to act your death on screen, or was it off-screen death?
I did.
Nice.
It was.
That's kind of morbid for someone your age to.
Yeah, I was 7.
Oh.
I think I like just turned 7. It was.
Wow.
All right, Robbie,
crazy.
you
And,
gotta die. Okay.
Yeah, it was so dramatic, and all the stuff that was going on. All the actors did such a were so phenomenal and did such a had such a good performance, even though my eyes were closed the whole time and I couldn't see it. I could tell. I could hear how intense.
Oh
it was,
yeah,
and,
I bet. Have you all? I mean, you come from a family of artists. I mean, your mother, for people who don't know, she's in the MCU. I mean, she's in the Incredible Hulk. His grandfather, Joe Cabot, a jazz musician. So, have you always wanted to act, or do you got the music bug too?
Oh, I did play trumpet for a little bit, and then since I started, which is what my grandfather played, and I took a few lessons, and then Skeleton Crew came around, and I didn't bring my trumpet with me. I should have, but I didn't. So I was a little rusty after 7 months, but I definitely want to get back to it. Oh my god!
Learning instruments is not easy. At an advanced age, I'm trying to teach myself the guitar, and it is hard work, but it's fun.
It's definitely.
It is fun.
But I love music, and I love filmmaking, and I've always wanted to do
Well,
this,
I mean,
definitely.
I don't know if other people know, but you were in a musical role in an award-winning movie in Encanto, right? Antonio Madrigal. I mean, you got a little singing number in there. Did you get a piece of the Oscar or Grammys, or does that just go to the writers of the music?
I did, and I also got a platinum award, which is basically celebrating 1 million albums sold, and I have it upstairs in my room, and it's
that's so impressive.
Yeah, it was
That's incredible.
I mean,
it was completely out of the blue, randomly that I received it, and just like, oh my gosh, I was not expecting it whatsoever, and it was crazy, and I thought it was crazy enough that it had 1 million albums sold, but in reality, it was 3 million.
Hey,
which is even
triple platinum.
crazier. So,
Lin-Manuel, man, the guy writes good music, and you all perform or sang it quite well.
Yeah, I was so obsessed with Lin's stuff even before I booked it, before I auditioned for it. Even I was obsessed. I loved Hamilton. I watched that all the way back in 2020 when it came out on Disney Plus, when it released on Disney Plus, and In the Heights was my favorite, even like right before I filmed before I filmed Encanto. It was one of my favorites. And so, it was crazy to meet him. It was wild, and he's so nice. The first time I met him, he ran up and gave me a hug. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he seems pretty bubbly and positive. Now that you've done a feature-length animated film where you're just doing your voice, and now you're essentially doing a feature-length live-action movie. I know it's a TV series, but with the runtime, it's easily a movie. Do you prefer one over the other? I mean, do you prefer being on camera, or did you like just doing the voice?
I loved them both equally. I would say I loved on camera a little bit more because you really get it's all of the whole it's fully you performing, and it's very fun. You get to you get to meet everybody, obviously because you're acting opposite them, so you get to you get to know them. And I didn't know anybody from Encanto until the premiere. I didn't meet them at all. So, it was so nice meeting them all for the first time. But I would say live action a little bit more because it's so much. It's really just a lot of fun, and I love all the work that goes into it. It really doesn't even feel like work for me. It just feels like play.
Full range of acting.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, you understand Ravi has accomplished more than you and I in 13 years, and we have in our 70 plus years combined, right?
Very much good. So. Very much. An impressive individual.
What a dude. I tell you what. Hey, as we wrap up, Ravi, I got a few just quick hitters. You can just shoot out quick answers if you want, and then we'll let you go. I am so appreciative. You've already given us over an hour. I can't thank you and your mother enough for that. So much fun. Awesome. Well, that's how we like to do it. So, how long have you been a Star Wars fan?
Since I was a few days old.
What started it? Do you remember?
A New Hope. Luke Skywalker, lightsaber, bam.
Yes, we do. I did research. His favorite character is Luke. His favorite Sith is Darth Maul. How about how about your favorite non-Force user character? R2. Ooh, I like that.
Yes, R2 or oh gosh, I was gonna say Ahsoka, but she is a Force user. We'll go with R2.
I like that.
Perfect.
Do you collect anything Star Wars outside of your own character?
No, but my dad is a huge Star Wars collector. He would have Star Wars toys sent to us every week at one point during quarantine. So,
well, I don't know. Your buddy Justin over there, he's got quite a collection too. I don't know if he's ever talked about that or showed those things off. But
he has actually. He has. Oh my god.
They don't call him SW props for nothing.
Oh my gosh, such a great guy.
All right, favorite film, Star Wars. I should clarify.
Star Wars film, A New Hope.
Perfect. Favorite trilogy.
Star Wars trilogy.
OT, okay.
The original.
I was gonna say the originals.
I like that. I like that.
I watched 1, 2, and 3 or 4. Well, I guess we'll call it 1.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, we know what you're saying.
Yeah, I watched those again in preparation for Skeleton.
What is a standout moment to you from the Star Wars franchise?
Ooh, I loved Anakin's. When he's in the lava, I've always, oh my gosh, it scared me, definitely. But you underestimate my power. That one is so iconic. The one where Luke, honestly, just seeing Luke run around with a lightsaber is so fun. When he finds out that that Anakin is his father, it's so iconic, and so I know it's serious, but it's very funny to watch, I feel like. So, there's so many, it's hard to choose because there's so many iconic parts in the franchise.
That is true. What show is Ravi currently into? What are you watching these
What
days?
show is Ravi currently into? Star Wars Skeleton Crew, streaming only on Disney Plus.
What
Came
a
out December 4th,
dude.
new episode every Tuesday. You should definitely watch. Episode 7 just came out yesterday, and there will be a new one next week. Go watch right now. No, but I love not many people have heard of this, but it's an animated series called Hilda, and it is one of my favorites. It's so well done. I love animation. I do animation myself, and I love all sorts of
Yeah,
animation.
I knew that about you. I watched another video on your YouTube channel where you're talking to an artist. See, I put my time in on learning about RC squared here. You know, I feel like I know you a little bit. All right, how about what's the last movie you watched?
Oh gosh, what is the last movie I watched? Wicked. Wicked was the last movie I watched.
Sing along version or standard version?
Oh, I wish. But it's so good. It was like 2.5 hours long, but it really didn't feel like that. It felt like, just like, it felt like I wanted more. Like I just didn't want it to end. And a complete unknown. A complete unknown. Yeah. Yes. I watched that in the theaters. And it's so good with Timothée Chalamet. Amazing. Fantastic.
Chalamet. I like Nikki Glaser at the Golden Globes was doing Adam Sandler impressions of his name. Timothée Chalamet. All right, I'm getting the high sign. We got to wrap up soon, so I'm going to bust out a few more real quick ones, and then we will let you go. He's got to get some homework done. We don't want to get Wim grounded before the finale here. What video game are you currently playing, Ravi?
Oh,
I saw you with Hip Hop Gamer, so I know you're into the gaming scene.
This is true. Any Mario game, pretty much. Minecraft, competitive.
Ooh.
I would say, Smash Bros has always been one of my favorites, definitely.
All right.
Any of the like Mario Bros like platformers are so.
We got a Nintendo guy here, I can tell.
Who's your main in Smash Bros?
Nintendo only.
Who's your main in Smash Bros?
Oh
Robbie?
gosh, it was Joker at one point, but then I feel like I moved to Hero. That's
Perfect.
It's Hero.
All right. I don't want to wear out our welcome, so I'm going to ask my last question. Have you always had this amazing head of hair? As a bald man, I'm quite jealous.
No, I have not. But first of all, thank you for saying that. But no, I have not. When I was a baby, I bone straight. Like it was.
Oh, really?
It was complete. Yeah, I think around like 1 or 2 or maybe a few months. I don't exactly remember, but one little curl sprouted, and it was. My mom and dad both have curly hair, so it was really weird when I had straight hair. It was weird why I didn't have curly hair, but then it eventually started coming in, and I personally love curly hair.
You should start doing Head and Shoulders ads with Troy Polamalu. You know what I'm saying? Or Mahomes does them now too, I think.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so come on. I'll get Justin on that. I'll try to get you signed up for an endorsement deal for Head and Shoulders. All right, my man. So appreciative to you, to your team for hooking this up. I think this was a fantastic chat. I hope you had a good time. I thought you were a breath of fresh air. You're just as enlightened sounding live as you are on the screen. So everyone, make sure to support this young man next week in Skeleton Crew Season 1 finale, Tuesday, 9 p. East. He's playing Wim. Wim likes to wonder. This is the talented Ravi Cabot-Conyers. Thank you, my man. Have a great night. Good luck with that homework. Tell your teacher we ate up your time if she doesn't like your work, okay?
We'll write you a note if we need to.
All right, man. Have a great night, and I can't wait to see what happens next week with Wim and the rest of the crew. Just awesome work.
So excited. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
See you, dude.
Thank you.
Okay.
Woo!
All right. We got to kick him out here. See ya. Look at his face frozen on the screen now.
I know.
Oh, you gotta love it. Well, that was pretty freaking cool, huh?
That was pretty cool.
I'm not a fan that like my whole back end tech system's broken, and I don't know why, because now I'm gonna have to spend time figuring that out. But holy shit, that was fantastic.
That was awesome. I mean,
and now your
big
feed's
thank
fixed. Your feed's fixed now on it makes no sense. I quit. Why?
Hey,
why?
You know what?
I should just leave. You should see it, Nick. You look at the vertical feed right now. Look at Ravi's face just frozen like that.
I saw the frozen. It was great.
It's like we're taking him hostage.
It perfectly encapsulates his enthusiasm and his excitement.
My God, I told you. I told you he's amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah, it was an incredible interview. Big thank you to Ravi, his family, Justin, and everybody else for setting this up for us. It was truly a pleasure to interview him.
And chat, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm typically right on it and getting your comments up there. That is broken. And focusing on the interview, I was missing a lot of the questions and whatnot. I thought the chat's been great. That's on me. Star Wars Order. We got this get through one of our friends. SW Props kind of helped us on this one, and it was huge. Like I said, this is our biggest snag. Period. I mean, you might hear my voice a little bit. I am riding a high right now. Like I'm a little like. I need to, we need to start talking about Skeleton Crew or something so I can kind of. It's almost like. Happy nerves. You know what I mean? I'm not nervous. I am fucking juiced right now.
I was definitely a little nervous going into it as well, but I mean, it was such an incredible experience. He was such an amazing guest.
Awesome.
Gave just super fun answers, detailed answers. And obviously this show is incredible. The work that he's done is incredible as well as the rest of his castmates. And I mean, I hope for one that we get to see Ravi and the crew continue on into a season 2. I know they hope that as well. And this was truly just a real gift for us to be able to sit down and have a conversation with him and just really get to know Ravi a little bit better and what makes him tick as an actor. It was an awesome experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's like one of my favorite humans right now on the planet. So that was so awesome. I mean, just the amount of time they gave us. I mean, give me a break. Nick, this started at 30 minutes earlier today, and we just got almost an hour 10. So again, thank you, Christina, if
Ravi's
you're still listening.
Team.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Justin. We appreciate you both. I got to somehow get my shit under control here. I'm riding high, people, and it's fully natural, which is something we typically don't do over here at the Star Wars Time Show. You know what I mean? All right, Nick, welcome back, buddy. It's good to see you.
Yeah,
man. Episodes 5 and 6 were pretty fucking great, huh? The ones we didn't get to chat about.
Episodes. Live. Yeah, I mean, this show has really. I mean, just to kind of go right into talking about the show. Obviously, this is our first week back, but I mean, this show has truly been. Like you said, when Ravi was on, a breath of fresh air for the Star Wars universe. I think that this show has really reinvigorated my excitement about the TV universe and what can be done in it. And I think it's done the same for a lot of people in the fan base. And I think that a lot of that credit goes to, John Watts, obviously, as the showrunner and the creator, but also to the cast for really bringing their A+ game to this show and showing us what a Star Wars show that really is made for a younger generation could be like. And, it doesn't have to be that older fans don't connect with it because it is for, it's a little bit more for a younger crowd. We can enjoy it as much as younger people can enjoy it. And I think that the actors and all of the creatives that have been involved in the show have done an incredible job of making the show something special.
Okay.
So.
I just got some good messages from Justin. I'll have to read after the show and I'll fill you in. But I think we did all right.
That's good.
I'm so happy. I'm sorry, people, especially those that are going to be listening on the podcast only version. I am it's too many endorphins right now. Like I cannot slow down my heart rate. I'm trying everything.
It's hard to wipe the smile off of my face from how well that went. And
it doesn't help that my shirt is like sausage casing tight either. So I'm struggling to breathe right now. My God.
There you go.
You know what? If you're new here, this should just go to show you that we're authentic as fuck, okay? There's no bullshit here at the Star Wars Time Show. I know my mouth has now gone out the window. I did so good for the first hour 10, but we're people, and that was great. That was awesome. My goodness.
Super fun.
All right.
It was super fun.
Let's get to episode 7, right? We're it's already 6:18. We don't want to be here all night. We just had an amazing interview with RC Squared Ravi Cabot-Conyers. So now we're going to go ahead and do our breakdown and review of Skeleton Crew S1E7. We are all in trouble now. And Nick, give me a chance to kind of catch my breath and maybe get some of this energy out. I'm going to go ahead and let you start riffing, and I may jump up and down while you're doing that. Okay,
get
go ahead.
some energy. I mean, episode 7 to me, the highlight was just the kid, like Jude, and the continuation of his character in a way that nobody really could have expected when we saw this show first introduced to us, and we were seeing, sides come out, seeing clips and trailers come out. The expectation was always that, like, yeah, Jude's character may seem like a bit of a pirate to start, but he'll warm up to the kids and he'll eventually get back to a place where, like, he is more of a steward to these kids than an antagonist. And as the show's gone on, I've continued to expect that to happen, that eventually Jod would turn and become this more shepherd, father-like character to the kids being lost out in space. But the fact that he has stayed bad the whole time and even gotten worse as the show has gone on, especially to the kids, has been a huge surprise to me. And it's taken the show in a different direction than what I expected. And the way that Ravi and Ryan and Robert and the rest of the kids have really, like, entire series has been truly incredible to watch, and especially in this episode where it is the most dire of straits. Even though they've gotten back to At-Aten, they're still in, like, this may be the most dangerous time for them, because now they're truly in the clutches of a madman, and not only them, but their parents. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm super excited to see come to a head in episode 8, and Ravi's told us how incredible episode 8 is. Yeah, just there's like somebody else, because we can't do it because
we're not allowed to post to Reddit.
So
we've been banned.
Somebody clip this from our show and
please
have Ravi himself saying it. But I mean, knowing that it's going to be an extended episode 8 gets me super excited, because there is a lot to come to a head here, and hopefully we get to see Jod get a bit of comeuppance for what he's put the kids through in the show, and hopefully we get to see some heroism, not from the kids themselves, from KB and Neil and Fern and Wim, and we get to see them really become like step into their roles as like stewards and as heroes of At-Aten and protect their planet.
I kind of have an idea what Wim's going to end up doing.
I hope so.
Do you want to hear it? I wasn't allowed to kind of talk about this, and in fact, I got us a bit in trouble when I made the graphic on Monday for the interview. But I'm pretty sure he's going to become the dude.
The dude, yeah. I mean, that's
the Force.
That is
the Force dude.
Yeah.
And here's my guess. Here's my guess. And I think it's going to come to fruition just because of how they focused on the lightsaber on Jod's hilt today when they landed on At-Aten. Wim's going to pull that to him. Wim is going to pull Jod's lightsaber to Wim. Mark my words. Calling it right now. This is purely speculation. Makes the most
sense. Yeah, I mean, we have no behind the scenes information. Ravi didn't tell us anything off camera. What you guys heard is what we heard on the show. But I mean,
the show has not been shying away from the fact that this kid worships Force users and might possibly, because he wants to be a hero so much, might actually have it within him to become one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
I mean, KD called him a Jedi in episode 6.
Yeah, like his character arc from minute one has always been super focused and super into the Jedi lore. You always see him on his data pad looking at Jedi stories. His obsession with lightsabers, along with Neil, just from episode 1, and then going into what we've seen thus far.
The talk with Jude, focus determines your reality, all that stuff. So,
yeah.
Woo, man,
I'm very excited to see where Wim's character goes in episode 8, and then obviously the rest of the cast as well. But just seeing seeing Ravi's excitement for what's coming in episode 8 gets me even more excited about it. I'm super, super hyped to see how this series or how this season closes out and what could be in store for us in the future if a season 2 comes down the pipeline.
Man, now that Ravi's gone, I do kind of miss that I can't play with the fans in chat, but I'll get that figured out for next week. You know me, if there's a tech issue, it's going to eat at my soul until it's fixed. So I'm sorry, I'm not fully paying attention, but my take on this episode, I mean, you heard some of my thoughts when we were talking to Ravi, but like Nick said, Jude stands out in every episode. This one, he took it next level. I mean, we get a new wrinkle added to the character of Jod, Nan, the Woods, Stank, Silvo, Dash, Zenton every week. I mean, the guy's a chameleon. I mean, you look at him, he seems like he's going to be your best friend, and then 2 seconds later, he's waving a lightsaber in the face of young kids and making threats and making them cry and literally terrorizing them on their ship because of his obsession with this treasure. So as we've seen throughout this series, Jude's performance top notch. I mean, the guy is an acting god. But as I was telling Ravi, and I'd truly not blowing smoke up the kid's butt just because he agreed to come on our show, I felt Wim too kind of stood out in this episode via his emotions and Ravi's physical performance of the character. But Nick, you know me, it's not so much about character performances, music, locations, and aliens. It's about what sort of lore do we get? Do we get any insights into the secrets this series has set forth way back on December 3rd? And we did. I mean, we got plenty of new At-Atten secrets revealed. Everything is starting to come much clearer into frame. I think we can now, with confidence, Nick, say that At-Atten disappeared not in the old Republic, but the old Republic, the one that fell thanks to Palpatine. And it's more than likely it disappeared in the High Republic era, because Jadna said specifically today, it's been hidden for hundreds of years, not thousands. So we got that. We got
not thousands.
Wendell the dad letting us know that, hey, when At-Atten citizens graduate, they do kind of get told a bit more about what this planet is about and why it's so secretive. But clearly they still don't know what the hell is going on in the outside world, and I still feel like they're stuck in a loop that's being controlled by AI that might have been impacted or modified by Tack Renid. So, the episode checked everything you could want in Star Wars, especially when it's only 30 minutes or less. And I think as much as we would all love longer episodes, we are seeing the quality of the show via the shorter episodes, and they still hit. We still get character moments. We still get story development, growth, both in the world and in the characters. And cliffhangers be damned. I can't wait to see what happens next Tuesday on that 50-minute banger that Ravi let us know exclusively on the SWTS. So, I mean, really, the series has not missed a beat since episode 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the show has, to your point, I think it's really proven that it has the right episode length. I think that the episode length for these episodes
they edit them very well.
Yeah, it's perfectly edited. You get a really good look into each character in each episode, even though they're only 30 minutes long, which I think is a credit to the writing and directing team, in the editing team as well. John Watts clearly came in with a vision and executed it to perfection up to this point, and I'm sure that episode 8 will close that out in perfection as well. I mean, to me, being able to do something in Star Wars that you really haven't seen before is difficult to do sometimes. And I think that they've done it to such a high degree in Skeleton Crew with these like Old Republic jewel planets, with this huge, like having At-Aten be shrouded by this barrier that we've really never seen something like it before in live action or even in animated series, and focusing it in a way that really does feel authentic to a pirate story. You know, like in Star Wars, you're like, well, what are they going to be after? Is it going to be coaxium, or is it going to be like something that is essentially gold, Star Wars?
It's steady gold.
It's just gold. And like that feels like such an authentic story that can be told inside or outside of Star Wars. And the fact that John Watts was able to do something as simple as gold and he made it feel so much like Star Wars is a credit to that team and to the people who have made this show come to life.
Yeah, man, I absolutely loved what Jude did in that vault when he basically had a maniacal breakdown of happiness over finding all these dataries, as the people on planet call them. We know they're Old Republic credits. I mean, it does feel like they have 1139 vaults. Not sure why they didn't go with 1138. We'll talk about that in the Easter eggs and references. But I'm telling you, man, it seems to me, and this is, I guess I'll just get my theory out right now, but it seems to me, yes, this planet, Jewel of the Old Republic, it was a mint. That's been made clear. And I think the minting was part of the great work. What I think has happened, though, once Rened showed up, I think he did something. I'm not saying he's still alive, but he may have implemented his supervisor, manipulated the supervisor, tweaked some code, tweaked the security droids. But I'm almost thinking, Nick, that once this guy got here, found the planet, he wanted to hoard it all for himself. But he also saw that the society was created just to produce gold for the galaxy. So he's like, why am I going to give this up?
Why would I?
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to keep the loop going. And that's, I really think we're just, those citizens that are alive now in the New Republic timeline, they're essentially just running on the directive loop that has been in existence for hundreds of years. But there's a reason why they don't know what's happening outside the galaxy. And that, I believe Rened has something to do with that when he landed on At-Aten.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, clearly, unless he took a different ship off of the planet, clearly he wasn't able to get off with the Onyx Cinder. I mean, the Onyx Cinder's been there since it crashed. The crew itself, we see it seemingly the mutiny failed and Rened got away, perhaps. I mean, we see the dead bodies of the crew in the ship as soon as the show opens. So we know that there was some sort of mutinous activity there that didn't go well for the crew members. And yeah, I mean, the specter of the of the supervisor kind of hangs high over this planet. And in this episode, it was the first time that we ever got to hear
Stephen
the
Fry,
voice
by the
of
way,
the supervisor. Yeah, I mean, that was a treat when I heard it, because the first thing that went through my head was the voiceover from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because it sounds so familiar. It sounds so similar to that. But now finally hearing the supervisor's voice come in and it being triggered by the Onyx Cinder re-entering atmosphere for the first time.
It was like, oh, Republic emissary is here. So it's conditioned. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like
it's coming back to its programming.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, okay, well that's happening. So we need to tell everyone to take a break and let's let the emissary land and load up.
Yeah, and even the droids knew the protocol. The droids knew, like, oh, you're a Republic emissary. We take you right down to the vault. You take the stuff, and then you go. So, I mean, like, the droids are still programmed into this. So
it's the people that are kind of out of the loop. Yeah. And I think Wendell let us know, like, yes, once you graduate, you're kind of filled in, like, hey, we're making cash for the galaxy. This is our great work. Just run with it. We can't, this is why we can't fly away from the planet, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, sounds good. Because listen, I mean, they've been conditioned their whole lives. This is the loop they live. But I do, like I said, something has happened to where these people, this current generation of At-Atens, they have no freaking clue what's going on. They don't know that the Republic they serve is gone. They have no clue.
Yeah,
I mean, Nick, you saw it when that ship came in. Those people had no clue. They were standing on the fucking launch pad, like literally falling off as it's opening. So it's probably been over 30 years. Over 30 years since one of these Republic emissary ships have come to At-Aten to get some cash.
Oh, easily over 30 years. I mean, for people to literally not know that there is a landing pad right under their feet, and then also for Brutus, like when Brutus and the rest of the pirates show up in their ship and they see the exterior of this planet.
That maelstrom, that wasn't even it, dude. It's like a cocoon for At-Aten. Like that big maelstrom is it's like just a big Band-Aid.
Yeah, I almost, like when I first saw it, I thought that it was just a thin layer over the atmosphere, but it is truly a deep maelstrom. And the planet itself is so small in comparison. When you get in through the maelstrom and you see the size of At-Aten, I was like, wow, I can't believe that they took the time to build this entire structure around it. But that's how important it was. And like you see how people in the normal galaxy approach it now. Like when they pass by it, they're like, this is a gas giant that's just Brutus full of chaos and death. Like
he's as hardcore as it gets. He's a fucking walking, talking, red-eyed dog, and he's like, no, we're not doing it. We're just gonna blow up. There's no way we're going into that thing. So that is a fantastic defense. And honestly, I don't know where I read this, but it's essentially the same reason Mandalore. You know, they knew where it was, but you couldn't communicate or anything because it had that storm around it from the orbital bombardment from the Night of 1,000 Tears or whatever it was called. So, it's like these people are, without knowing the full story, they're just stuck in this loop to keep producing gold that no one's taking. And that's why they probably have a 1,139 volts. No one is coming to take it anymore. They're just stockpiling it. And that's why I think TAC, maybe even SM-33, they might have tweaked whatever was going on At-Aten when they got there to have it serve their needs of stockpiling gold. But you know, they had their little mutiny and you know, their plan kind of went to piss. So guess we'll find out next week in that 50-minuter. Man, I can't believe we got that. Like, can someone please get that on Star Wars Leaks? I mean, that's the type of shit they love over there, and we got it live.
Live from the horse's mouth, from Robbie's mouth himself. We didn't make it up. But yeah, like
what do you think they tell Nick? What do you think they tell these people when they graduate? What do you think? It's like, oh, hey, this is what we're doing here. This great work you've been working towards your whole life, and you took your assessment to figure out what you need to do. It's for this, and we can't tell anyone. We can't leave the planet. Only certain people can come in. Blah blah. I mean, Wendell knew about Republic emissaries, and they know how to find At-Aten, so they know that their planet needs to stay hidden. But like I said, they don't know what has been happening outside in the galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it almost seems like depending on your level or like what your job is, you're let in on certain things. A bit
more, right?
Yeah, like Wendell, it seems like he's like a bit higher up in things, like based off of what we were seeing early in the season, where like he's always in meetings or he's always super busy.
He's not an analyst, because we saw him in his cubicle farm a few episodes back, and he's just working at a terminal. And I believe it was in the admin building, because he was taken to go see Farah, who is the undersecretary.
Yeah, who is
so he and Farah might be an admin, where the other parents' kids are in the accounting or the whatever.
Yeah, the analyst,
the math shit. Something. Yeah, the math stuff.
Yeah, doing credit counting or something like that. But yeah, I think it's like the way that I almost think about it is like Scientology, right? Like when you first join Scientology, you don't know anything. Like you're just like, this is just meant to help me be more of a, like a confident person. And then the further you get in, the more you learn. And then eventually when you get to that point, they're like, okay, aliens, Xenu, volcano planets, like, the thetans are stuck in your body. So it almost seems like once you graduate like graduate school in At-Atten, you're you're going to be an analyst.
Right.
Let me tell you about what you're going to be analyzing, or you're going to be a security personnel. Let me tell you what you're going to be guarding, so they give you very specific information around what you're doing, which seems to be why Fern's mom and Wendell know the most, because you don't really hear too much from KB's parents in terms of plans to be able to find or get in contact with the kids, or Neil's parents either. Like, it's mostly coming from women in Fern's parents. So
did you love, Nick,
I
at
think
the start
higher
of this,
up you go, the more you learn? At
the start of this episode, how, the parents are in the woods and they were mirroring their children's roles. I mean, KB's moms were doing the tech, Neil's mom coming in with the assist. Then you had, Wendell and Farrah there kind of being the leaders, the lookouts, and they did the kind of the pass the transmitter.
Dude, like that whole opening scene with the parents in the woods actually super caught me off guard, because I was like, there's no way that these droids are going to do anything to harm these parents. And they're like gunning them down, stunning them, no problem.
But you notice, Nick, there's really no repercussions. They're like, hey, that was bad, but you're okay. Just get out of there and quit trying to communicate.
Yeah, it's like you would assume that after something like that happens,
shoot the shit out of them, kill them.
Yeah, it's like they would, or at least they would be thrown into prison or something like that. Like, it's just go home. You did wrong.
I know. They're all treated like babies. That's what I mean. It's just like these people have been turned into this controlled society, probably through an AI overlord that has been dictating their lives and letting them know what it wants them to know, while kind of keeping everything else close to the vest. I mean, there's a reason an AI would not want to let its meatbags know that there is no longer a republic, because they'd be like, well, I want to leave, please. I've been here my whole life.
One of the questions that I saw pop up in the chat while we were talking to Ravi, but I just couldn't transition into it easily, was there any conversation before filming this with John Watts or the creators, about how this compares to Wizard of Oz? Because there is there is kind of a similar thread between what we're seeing in Skeleton Crew and what we have seen in Wizard of Oz, and specifically around the supervisor, aka Oz, and how they may interact with the populace as a whole. I think is an interesting discussion to have, because like we've been saying, Oz was this great and powerful wizard that comes from somewhere else, but nobody knew anything about him. They just knew the facade that was put out there. And that's kind of how it is with this supervisor. It doesn't seem like anybody has any direct contact with this supervisor, except, maybe the highest of high ranking people here, but they all respect the supervisor. They understand what the supervisor's wants are, and they follow the supervisor's
it's the
words.
All-knowing. You're right. I mean, it is Oz. It is the all-powerful.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see this supervisor role be uncovered and us learn more about it and how it has affected this society of people for, like you said, at this point, hundreds of years, them just being in this loop of create coin,
count
maybe somebody
coin,
will come get
repeat.
It.
Yeah, it's just literally make coin, count coin, store coin, repeat.
Protect coin, and then rinse and repeat. It's just such an interesting cycle.
I'm with you. I mean, I think every adult we've met so far in At-Atten, they know what they know, but they don't really know the full truth. And I think by the end of next week, we are going to get that truth, and they are going to get the truth at the same time, which would probably potentially lead into what could happen further in the Mandoverse era, and if we get a second season. Because you would think of an entire planet just found out that they've been manipulated probably by an AI or a ne'er-do-well. They're probably going to want to maybe leave. Check things out.
Also,
maybe see what's going on in the galaxy for the past hundreds of years.
Imagine if it gets out that At-Atten really is this Old Republic meant. It's the target on that planet is as big, as anything that you've ever seen. I mean, you're gonna first off, the New Republic is gonna want to get involved, for their own interest.
That's our money, bitch. That's our cash.
This planet's got trillions of credits just
and
in
we
vaults.
are poor.
Yeah, and we have nothing. And now with the reemergence of Thrawn into the galaxy and what is to come after that, they're going to be like, hey, we could use all that gold that you guys have. And then if Thrawn finds out about it, just speaking about the greater the greater galaxy and how this is going to affect everything that's happening in the Mandoverse, like that's going to be priority target number one. Like this is like, what do you mean? There's an unlimited amount of gold on this planet. Well, I'm going right there. Like, so I am very interested to see how this story, which has been very self-contained in terms of the story that's being told and the interaction with what's happening outside in the galaxy as a whole, has been very self-contained. We haven't seen anybody or any signs of anybody from any other properties in this show, which I've enjoyed. But once like the veil is lifted, how is that going to affect absolutely everything else that's going on?
Well, so that's like I'm having a chat with League in the chat, and she's talking like, well, why aren't the residents curious that no one's coming to get this gold? And I just said the great work can't be questioned.
But the thing is like it's a good lens into a society that has no discord, right? Like if your society has no issues and all of the problems that arise within your society are very solvable, like is there going to be uprising, or is there going to be discontent because there's questions that people don't have answers to? Like for what we've seen from Atten so far, it seems like a relatively utopian society. Like nobody seems to have needs or wants. All of like anything that anybody would want seems to be met. Everybody's housed. There doesn't seem to be any destitution or any issues with like people not having a place in society. So if everything functions the way that it's supposed to, and everybody has a level of contentness or happiness that is, that like nobody can really take issue with, will that happen? Will there be these external questions that pop up? Or I guess the other question is, if that is happening, how is it being handled? Right? Like, is there a protocol in place by the supervisor to say like, hey, this person maybe is asking too many prying questions, that they need to have a little.
That's a good point. Like scramble them a little bit.
Yeah, like let's remind them of what really,
Take
like what the true great work is.
Gully. They get Borgullied.
Something like that. So just the whole like at Atten as a whole, even outside of the other jewel planets, has raised so many interesting questions with how this society is going to function with the rest of the galaxy as a whole once the veil is lifted. I'm super invested in seeing how this plays out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad he tipped off the runtime, because that helps me going into next week. Because I mean, Justin and I were even talking a bit today. Like, man, 30 minutes is going to be tough to. I still feel like we're deserved a little bit of exposition on Jod's past, I think. I mean, you can't just throw a character in there that's using the Force and not give us any nuggets, right? I mean, don't you feel like we need something about why he is the way he is, or would we be okay if we don't get that?
I went into this show with the expectation of it, like, with an expected character journey for him, like I said when we first started, and it really hasn't played out that way. And I kind of enjoy that they're not giving us like, well, he's bad because of this. It's like sometimes, especially in shows that are more built for children, and I'm not saying that this is like a kid show, but like there isn't always a motivation, or like there isn't always like an explanation why the bad guy is bad. And I kind of enjoy that we're not getting like an explanation behind his ruthlessness, especially towards children. And if it does come in episode 8 and it expounds and it builds on his character in a way that informs but doesn't diminish what he's already done, I would be all for it. But also, if we didn't get anything and Jod is just a bad dude, I would be okay with it, because I think it has played out in a way that is meant to like build the children build the child characters more than it has done to.
I mean, it's their story after all, really. So I'm definitely with you there.
Yeah.
I still think, I mean, even the way he kind of zeroed in on Wim and calling him weak and essentially soft, I think this is a byproduct of him living a very,
similar.
very hard life at a young age and having no one and having to kind of destroy his innocence and become a hardened pirate scoundrel scumbag.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the closest character that we've seen to Jad Na, as odd as it will sound, in terms of like a full character arc journey, is Boba Fett. Like, Boba Fett was a child that was raised by a bounty hunter, but then, you know, when his father dies, what does he do? He like he's a kid with no family, and the only family that he has are scoundrels and bounty hunters and the scum of the underworld, and that's what he turns into. So like, it would make sense that Jad's character journey would be something similar, where it's like, yeah, I was a kid and then my life was exploded, and the only mentors and the only people that I had to look up to were pirates.
Right.
So that's what I turned into.
Yeah.
And he looks at somebody like Wim, who has literally had a utopian life placed around him.
Like he's almost pissed.
And he's like, you don't even deserve this. Like everything that you have on At-Aten, you don't deserve it. I have lived a life of struggle and hardship since I was a child, and this is my just reward for what I've been through. And I think that if we do get some of his backstory, and it does kind of give you this picture of a child of a Jedi or a child of a Force user that was thrust into darkness after the fall of the Republic, I mean, it would really inform that character well.
You know what, Nick? Could you see this happening, especially the way 7 ended? Could you see 8 starting with a Jad flashback? And then
for 50 minutes? Yeah.
No, not for 50 minutes, but just the beginning of the episode.
I mean, because we have that extra runtime,
right?
You can take, like, if it was a 35-minute episode and you took 10 of it to tell his story, you can't do it. But if you have a 50-minute episode and you take 10 of it to tell his story, then I think that'd be a clever way.
Like, you just open in Jad's past and you get what we need, and then it picks up right with him threatening the kids and their family. And we go from there with the present day timeline. I think that'd be the best way to do it. I don't know how else you would cram in some form of Jad retrospective, considering where they're at. I mean, where does Jad go from here, Nick? I mean, he's down in a vault. It's just him and a lightsaber. He can't contact the pirates. What the hell is he honestly going to do?
I mean, that's the thing, is like, right now, as far as we can tell, nobody on this planet, or nobody that is directly interacted with Jad yet, has ever had something like this happen. No. So like, they have no frame of reference for how to deal with this.
They've only seen lightsabers in their little story pads,
on the data pads. So like, for the parents, the key thing is just like, look, if this guy wants the gold, let him get the gold and get the hell out of here. Like, just go. And
well, he's not leaving with one Republic emissary ship full of gold, though.
He's taking as much as he can and coming back and get more and come back and get more until there's no chance for him to get out of here. But from Jad's perspective, you have to think about it this way. Like, nobody else knows this planet exists. Like, it's only him, and it's now his crew, now that he's killed Brutus in relatively brutal fashion, I would say. Like, dude, literally shoots this guy in the head.
Hardcore, dude. I was like, oh boy. When I saw Brutus get clawed, I was like, yep, I know what's happening here. Wait, why the fuck did he wait until then to break free of his chains? Like, what is he doing with that? If you've got that control over the Force, like, what do you think his end game is? Because he clearly uses it when he needs to use it, and he doesn't use it liberally.
I think it's because he knew if he took those chains off earlier and he didn't have the crew behind fully in the palm of his hand, it was over. So
do you think that's also... I'm sorry, Nick. When he did that and then brutally killed Brutus, do you think that's why they all snapped too? I mean, let's be real. They had like 40 guns pointed at Jad, and he turns around with one gun. He's like, "All right, bitches, I'm captain again." Anyone want to contest? And they're like, "Hell no, dude."
Yeah, like everybody just stayed back because they were like, well, he was already our captain once.
Yeah, he's got some special powers, and he just blasted Brutus in the face.
Yeah, so and just imagine it. Like if you're Jod, your thought process is, as soon as I get back to the larger ship with even just like some of this gold, it's proof point that I'm right.
Yep.
So my crew is fully on board. Like, and they're the only other people in the galaxy that know about this. So Jod's got to be feeling pretty freaking safe right now. He's like, look, these people aren't going to mess with me because they've never encountered conflict in their life. Like, I have a lightsaber, I'm a Force user, and I have a ship that can freely enter and leave this barrier. For him, it's like a kid in a candy store. It's like, I'm taking everything I can.
You saw how he reacted. I mean, he almost had an orgasm.
Yeah, like the dude's just on the ground.
I know it's weird. I know that feeling though. It's like anytime I come into contact with, some medication I haven't been able to get in a long time, or, you find an awesome collectible out in the wild, it is hard to like contain your excitement, and he let it loose.
Yeah, he let it loose, dude. So like, if I'm Jod, I'm like, don't mess with me. You stay here. I'm taking all this gold off the planet and I'm coming back. And unless you guys have a military that you've never mobilized before, I'm getting more, and I'm doing this until I'm bored of it or until I can't fit any more on the big ship.
Well, yeah, you got to think at this point, the droids are going to let him take it. They think he's an emissary.
Yeah, they think he's the emissary.
He can easily load shit up. No one, you notice none of them pulled their guns on him when he whipped out a lightsaber.
No, like this is all protocol to them.
Yeah, they're like,
you have the emissary ship. You've said that you're the Republic emissary. So by all thoughts by these droids' estimations, this dude's just doing what he's supposed to.
But like, with anything AI, remember, he got there and wanted to see the supervisor. Like, no, you go down the hole.
You
first.
Go straight to.
So I'm telling you, the supervisor, I think my friends, we could be in for a huge twist next week where we all now think Jod is the antagonist of the show. The supervisor could kind of intro themselves and completely change the game. I think that's the only way at this point how Jod could technically be redeemed is if a new threat, the supervisor threat, whatever you want to call it, the New Republic coming in, I could see him maybe changing his tune and potentially sacrificing himself. But part of me also wants him to stay bad. I would also like him to live and stay in this timeline. Wouldn't he be fun to team up with like the Thrawn's posse? Kind of give Thrawn his Jedi user.
Yeah, I would love that. I love this character, and I love how it has turned.
I don't want him to die.
Yeah, no, I don't want him to die. Like I love how John and Jude and the team have really turned expectations on their head with this character, because I think that most people going into this show thought that this character would end up turning and being a good guy. I think that was kind of the prevailing sentiment around this character. All there. And the fact that he has stayed bad and gotten even worse as the show has gone along has only strengthened that character's arc. And I think it would be a benefit to keep him around, especially in what is to come. I think, like you mentioned, having a Force user on the bad side that can, probably not stand up to the likes of Ahsoka or Ezra or anything like that, but just having somebody that has those abilities on your side.
I mean, he's a survivor, bro. I mean, look at him. Yeah. Look how many pickles he's gotten out of just in the few episodes we've known him in.
Yeah. And now that he has successfully proven to his crew that he produced what he said he would.
Well, they have no clue yet. Remember, he can't radio them. So for what they know, he's dead.
But if he is able to get back to his ship with this gold and this crew sees it, they're fully bought. Anything that this dude says from here on out, they are snap fingers. We're ready. We're doing it. And if that call is, we're going to pillage and plunder Ad-Atten as much as we can, or we're going to go and we're going to fight on the side of this new blue general who's the admiral who's made his way back into the galaxy, like they're behind him. So I think that he could be a formidable force in the galaxy if they choose to take him in that direction. It's truly been awesome to see Jod's character. Like,
greatest new Star Wars character, Nick?
I mean, I think so. I think
does he
next
beat
to
Mando?
Balin's,
I mean, we got what? Mando, Cobb Vanth, Balin Skull, Shin Hati.
Yeah, I think that for me, next to Balin and Mando, Jod's character and like how, I don't want to say how he's evolved, because the evolution it's not been a huge evolution of a character. Like, the character has stayed relatively consistent to how he presented himself. But like, having that be a consistent thing throughout this season has been really refreshing and really awesome to see how this character has played out. And I really do hope that we see more of him, whether it be outside of Skeleton Crew or inside of a Skeleton Crew season 2. I do hope that he sticks around.
Yeah, I have read a rumor that maybe the kids could make it into Filoni's crossover Mandoverse.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, I mean, we really have nothing to run on, though, I think, until we get through next week, to be honest with you.
And here's the thing, like, regardless of what happens with Jod, the veil is going to be lifted on Ad-Ad.
Oh, of course.
Right? Like,
here's one thing I'm telling you is going to happen.
There.
Watch this. And this is going to be a payoff in a moment that happened in episode 3 on Kim's moon. Remember the exchange between KB and Kim? If you need me, contact me. How much you want to bet? She gets a message to Kim. Kim gets the New Republic. And I hope it's more than just 2 X-Wings that show up at Atten to deal with the pirates. I would like to see at least a Corvette, maybe a frigate coming in from the New Republic side. We could potentially get Zeb if we get the New Republic coming in to do a little cleanup in the up there in the atmosphere. But there's no way that the New Republic doesn't show up, and there's no way that KB isn't responsible for it through Kim. So you all can expect totally that next week too. How are they going to get the message out? Who knows, but it's going to happen. All right.
Yeah, something with that beacon is going to happen for sure.
Oh yeah, the one that the parents shot up. You're right. They could probably relay off of that. You know what? We've kind of talked about this. Few top moments we've mentioned. I mean, the Brutus kill was brilliant. I mean, it's funny we still call this a kid show, but guys are getting capped point blank, and that's when you were like, oh, damn, Jod is really going headfirst into his heel turn now. And he didn't let up, because my second top moment was when he stowaways on the cinder, just as the kids are like, sweet, we made it. And poor SM-33 gets up and sacrifices himself, essentially, with a decapitation, which just led into a great, almost like an interrogation scene between Jod. We got great performances from Out of Whim, Firm. Neil had some funny lines in there. It was just, I mean, Jod kind of dominated this episode's top moments, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that he was the standout of this episode. I think that really seeing him step back into the role of Captain Silvo and command that crew, even in shackles, showed you the type of character that he is and the respect that he demands from the people around him. And I think that Jude put on, honestly, it was like a Jude masterclass in this episode. I think that it showed, we all know that he's an incredible actor, but I think that this was one of his performances that stood out to me, especially recently. And it really shows how much fear he can strike into people, even the ones that seemingly have lost respect for him. He was definitely the highlight of this episode for me.
Hey, check a message in Slack real quick.
Lady.
There you go. All right. So into Easter eggs and whatnot, I don't know. I struggled here. And a lot of these I just kind of made up, and maybe you all will run with it. But I did find the transmitter that the parents unleashed into the night sky of At-Atten to kind of resemble E.T.'s ship. All right. I'm
it did.
Bit of a stretch. E.T.'s a little more of an orb shape, but I'm running with it. Why not?
Similar vibes.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Similar vibes.
Another one we had, I think I already said, we had Stephen Fry voicing the supervisor. And then, like I said, when we get to the vaults, Jod asks the bots, how many of these do you have? And they say 1139. And I have to believe that was a kind of a cheeky way to do the 1138 egg that has been prevalent in Star Wars ever since George Lucas made THX 1138 his first big film.
Like student,
it was his first feature. So that's it. I mean, really, the past few episodes have been light on eggs, but really high on quality content, lore, character growth, all that stuff.
There's one thing that I do kind of want to get an answer to, and it's whose lightsaber is Jod using?
It's very High Republic looking, right?
It is. It's the gold filigree or like the gold inlay. The hilt itself definitely feels very High Republic. So I wonder if there's like any. I doubt that we will get anything unless it's like put out by Star Wars Databank or like one of the official channels. But I do find it interesting that he's just whipping this like super awesome blue lightsaber that he found.
Well, I mean, Rened would have stole it because it was in his lair, so he got it from somewhere. Yeah, it was
in his little hideout or his little one of his stashes, I would assume.
I swear Tak's name has changed. I at first I thought it was Renad, but now it's become Rened. How do you say it? Tak Rened. Renad. Tak Renad.
To me, the name is so reminiscent of Dash Rendar that like I almost just think of Dash Rendar.
We had Dash Zenton. That's one of Jod's aliases. And I know it's Renad backward is Donner. Donner did the Goonies and all that stuff. So I don't know if that has any revelation, but I've been told that trick.
Yeah.
Hey, when they were going down that shaft and we saw that big apparatus, I mean that's the mining rig, right? That's what's pulling the ore and whatnot out of the planet. So Fern, technically hearing stories from her grandfather about mines on At-Aten probably was real after all.
Yeah, not wrong.
What are some other ha's I had here? We talked about how the parents mirrored the kids. We now know how long At-Aten has been lost, at least hundreds of years. Talked about Jod not taking off his chains, the emissaries, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Jod broke hard, bleep, bloop. I think we got it all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little bit more unstructured than our typical breakdown, but I mean, we were riding the high from having Ravi on here and just super excited about the show. So I think we covered all of the highlights, the big hits and everything like that. So, what do you think's
going to happen next week? I mean, I'm running with I hope we get that Jod flashback to kick things off, and then we pick right back up with where the events were left off. But how do you think the finale is going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the beacon is definitely going to come in because obviously the kids didn't need it to find their way home, but somebody else will pick up that signal. And like your mention of Kim, especially Kim now knowing like At-Aten is real, and then there being a beacon out there with people saying like you can find your way back to At-Aten. Just
Republic
get
emissary.
in touch with an emissary. I think that will make its way to Kim, and Kim will relay that to the New Republic. I expect to see Jod at least initially get off the planet with some gold, and have that be because like. At this point, there's no real reason for him to stick around much longer. No. Like, at least for this initial descent onto
He needs
At-Aten.
that pirate frigate to load up. You know, you're not getting much gold on one of those emissary ships.
Yeah, so I think what his plan is probably is to like get as much of this gold onto this ship as he can, make his way back, and then now that he knows that the Onyx Cinder is the way down,
just ferry it back and forth.
Just have them kind of follow super closely behind to ensure that he can get on and off world with his other ship easily.
Yeah, Nick, honestly, the way this show's been going, you know, we get a cliffhanger, but they tend to advance the plot a bit once we return. So, I mean, we could go into episode 8 and we could see this convoy Nick is talking about taking place, and they're all just sitting there like, "Hey, what's going on? Where's these ships come from? What are ships?
Yeah.
Where's the supervisor?"
And if we are going to get anybody, I do expect to see, I expect to see our what's the name of the squadron, the special squadron that Trapper and all the other ones are in.
I forget. I've gotten bad at that type of shit. But but Dave Filoni's character and some of the other directors, maybe Carson Teva, maybe Zeb.
I expect to see Tiva and who knows, maybe Trapper, maybe Dave's
Does
character.
the New Republic's New Rangers, Din and Grogu, get the call? I think that's too much.
That's the thing is like, I think that would be a little too much.
It works, honestly, for the timeline. I don't want it to happen. I don't want Shiny Guy and Baby Green to come into this series. This series has its own juice, okay?
Yeah.
Stay away, Mando.
Yeah, we don't need you here. But I
give
do
us
think
Zeb,
that
though,
God
damn it. Give us Zeb.
Dude, I wanted Zeb from the beginning. I really hope that we get a little Carson Tiva and Zeb showing up to save the day and put a stop to this piracy happening on
SM-33, does he come back to life and how?
That I was going to bring that up earlier because there's been so many instances in this show where we're like, man, they got SM-33. He's out. He's dead. They took him out. And then he always comes back. I do think that SM-33 will be alive at the end or reanimated.
Droids getting decapitated is not the end all be all. I mean, you got to remember C-3PO literally got exploded. C-3PO's been torn apart and put back together so many times it's hard to keep track of at this point. I mean, just remember from Attack of the Clones when his head was on a completely different robot body. So, but I think that SM-33 will make his way back in.
All
right,
sure.
so I'm going. We're going to get a Jod flashback in some capacity. I hope it is the opening, like a cold open, right into it. I do think Jod at least starts to transport shit, but the supervisor is going to make their presence felt. And I think it's going to be a race between the supervisor, the New Republic, at least our kids and their family on At-Aten, because they're a little bit more in the know than the rest of the citizens. But I think ultimately when it comes down to it, we're probably not going to be talking about Jod as the big surprise next week. I still think there's going to be a fairly massive reveal with the supervisor that is going to finally pull back the few layers on this skeleton crew onion to where we're like, oh shit, yes, now everything makes sense. All the dots have been connected, and that's really all I can hope for. And I would love an ending that does kind of tease a future. All right, so I would be all right with a soft cliffhanger of sorts. Okay, so.
Yeah, I would too. I'd be happy to see a cliffhanger teasing season 2. I hope that happens. I think that everybody is super excited for a season 2 for the show if we get one. So
I don't want anyone to die either. Like I don't even know if I want pirates to die. I mean, keep Gunter alive. I mean, I'm good. Like let them all live. I'm fine. Like I don't feel like a character needs to die unless the AI supervisor does something extremely shady next week, and maybe that, like I said, will be the true threat.
Yeah, and I think that like the only character that really made sense to die in the show did, and it was Brutus. So like, I don't think that.
Yeah, I mean, he was just.
I don't think it makes.
He was just. The bad guy, like just.
Yeah, he's like
very expendable.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was just like the mean guy that was like you said, expendable. Jod's the bad guy, but I don't think that his character is expendable in terms of value to the
right. What's wild is Brutus got an action figure. SM-33 did not.
Oh, he'll have one. There's no way that they're not.
You would think so, because I think maybe 33 is the one that has the great sacrifice at the end. Like he gets himself back together somehow. Maybe he's the one that ultimately foils even the supervisor. Maybe he's the one that set up the supervisor. There's so many fun questions to ask about the show, and that's why
the supervisor could be. And that's the thing is like the supervisor could be as old as the protocol. Like, is the supervisor, like you said, an AI? Is it a droid? Is it just an alien race that has extended life? Like, there's a lot of alien races in Star Wars that could live that long and that could still be around. Like, is Tak Rened the supervisor and an alien that has just lived as long as he's been there?
Well, he looked like a Weequay. I saw people that slowed down their frames when we were in his lair when his holo came up. So he did look like a Weequay, and I don't think they have lifespans of hundreds. But, I mean, he could have like dumped himself into a robotic brain, body, whatever, or just programmed it. And, hey, I'm just gonna stockpile this cash, and who gives a shit who gets it? Because I was thinking, wouldn't a pirate want to spend their loot? Not usually. They like hoarding the shit. I mean, that's why they have
Yeah.
layers. I mean, we already saw he had a layer full of gold. So, of course, he would just sit there and be like, I'm just going to amass piles of this crap.
Yeah, he'll have a little discretionary spending money, but he'll definitely have a pirate's hoard for sure, stashed away somewhere else if he's able to get away with this, John.
All right, dude. Let's I guess we'll go ahead and move on over into the fan segment here. The questions we got this week, for the most part, were for Ravi, and apologies, but that's just something I was like, this is too easy to make a perk for our paying members. So that's why they got their questions out and other people did not. And we'd love for more people to join the channel. So if you're interested, go hit that join button down there, get your custom Darth Vader cat emoji, and then you'll also get exclusive emojis to use in chat. And if we get a few more people, we'll get 8 more emojis to add.
We can add some more.
And of course, at least 2 of the next ones to be added will be my face and Nick's face, as you all have requested. We did get one question. I'm not even going to pop it up. I'll just ask it here. But Cyan XTC was asking us, Nick, any goals for 2025?
Yeah, I have a goal that I want to write more stories. And that's something that I started at the end of last year. I really enjoy writing, and I've always been a writer at heart, whether it be through storytelling like we were doing on the Star Wars Time D&D show, or like my D&D that I do at home, or anything like that. Like, I love telling stories, and one of my goals for 2025 is to actually write more of my own stories. So that's something that I've been working on and that I've actually started to do already. So yeah.
Excellent. I would say mine, and a lot of it has been driven by what has happened to the channel since this show has come out. You all know me. My work ethic with this channel is unstoppable. I mean, I do too much sometimes. But now that I'm getting a bit of recognition, and we're getting some money for the work I put in, I'm going to probably double down and start sinking more into longer form videos on the channel, shit like that. I know we don't have another new series until April, so I'm expecting numbers to go down drastically. But I am hoping these 300-400 people we've added over, not even a month at this point. They're active followers. They're looking for our notifications. They're just going to add to our numbers. So my goal is to just keep it going. All right. I was starting to really burn out, my friends, but this show, both through its quality and the reception I've gotten through some of the content I've made for it, has kind of rejuvenated me a bit. And then, of course, today talking to that young man was like, well, fuck, I'm good for another year doing this. All right. Mm-hmm. So you all get at least another 12 months of the SWTS, and we typically try to give you, I'd say these days, Nick, we're looking at like 49 shows a year, 48 to 49 shows a year. We don't take many weeks off. This is kind of a first for us, where when we are on a break, we actually don't do shit. We used to even produce shows when we would be gone, but you never know. We're going to get better. I'm going to get better in 25. League, I still have your super duper member request to do a Scott and Sally AI breakdown for Dr. Afra. Don't worry. But yeah, I'm going to start doing instead of little shorts and crap or waiting for the show, I might just start doing more content to see if I can kind of keep the momentum going. All right. Now, Nick, we'll just go ahead and transition over to the question of the week. We had our dude up there, Ravi, on our graphic, and we're asking our fans, what was your favorite or least favorite part of Skeleton Crew episode 7? So take it away.
All right. So first up, is this Bango?
Yeah, that's Bango. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember. Jod fully doubling down on his heel status was great. He went from sorry love, I'm a pirate, kind of fun pirate, to oh Jesus Christ, they're going to murder the whole town pirate. Loved it. So good stuff there. Bango enjoying Jod's turn. Well, not turn, just continuation into the bad. Divided Skywalker says, my favorite part was when SM33 aligned with Fern and the children and went against the pirates. That was a really cool moment for sure. I enjoyed that a lot. We got Rippick Tan. Rippick Tan says, loved everyone laying claimsies on the control of the ship.
Claimsies.
Unclaimed.
In 33, it's like, hey, it's close enough. Boom.
Yeah, I'll do it. But I especially love when Jod being totally distracted while waving that saber around while threatening the kids. That was hilarious. Yeah, he clearly does not have good lightsaber etiquette.
What did you think of his lightsaber handling skills? He looks fairly novice, right? I mean, it was a good baseball swing at the head, but I don't think he's going toe-to-toe with Obi-Wan Kenobi or Anakin Skywalker.
No, he is definitely a novice when it comes to lightsaber handling. It's probably the first time he's ever picked one up. Seems like he's a little bit more practiced with a pirate blade than he is with a Star Wars lightsaber. But yeah, it was funny to kind of see him just like waving it around like he doesn't really know what
dice up first. Man, he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Still love him though. Still love him.
Just bad dude. 2797 Studios, Mr. Bat says there was a lot to love on this episode. The pirates continue to amuse, and Brutus meeting his end was a fun moment. The kids continue to grow and develop. Seeing At-Aten was great. The barrier, the mints. Jod is always is a highlight as always. Least favorite part was SM33 going down, but I'm willing to bet he'll somehow live on. Here's hoping the final episode is longer than 30 minutes. Who knows? Next up, Super Scoundrel says the vault was a visual spectacle. I just wish we could have seen the supervisor already. Yeah, I mean, the vault was super awesome.
I liked how it kind of ended its descent, where it turned them into at the vault door. I mean, I'm assuming that was all volume, but that looked rad.
Yeah, that was really cool. I liked the descent down, and then seeing this huge, but the whole time I'm thinking in my head, I was like, is this really gold? Is this really going to be gold? Is this going to be some sort of misdirection?
It sure is.
And then we get down there and that vault door pops open and it's just gold as far as you can see. I was like, holy shit. Wow. It really is. It really is just a vault full of gold. Mr. Jedi says it was again an amazing show. Loved every minute of it. And how Jod became hardcore bad guy. Love it. Yeah.
That's the theme this week for sure.
For sure. League of Extraordinary Sixthers. She says SM33 finally exercising free will with the claimsies scene. People love the claimsies scene. It was awesome. Dank Ferric Toy said, loved how Jod is becoming unredeemable after this episode. We are so used to redemption in this saga that it is kind of refreshing to have this characters that we were expecting to be rough, but good heart with the kids. To me, he showed his true face. He always wanted to be like this. It's bittersweet because I expected him to be nice, but it's refreshing. Also loved how Wim charged against the pirates after seeing the heartwarming message from his dad.
Attack!
This series rocks. Can't wait to get my Black Series figures from the series and do some cool shots. Nice. And then the last one says, spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't seen episode 7, huge spoiler alert up to this point anyway. 1139 vaults, each filled with brand new Old Republic credits with millions more in the mold. The supervisor is obviously a bot with ready answers, guessing from that little announcement when the Onyx Cinders
it's basically Chat GPT is what it is. It's
it kind of
something crossed the barrier. It was a Republic emissary. Okay, let me kick off this routine. Hey, everybody, take off. It's time to welcome them here. Yay.
It really reminds me of Magrathea from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you've never seen that movie, it's really good. I know it's not spot on to the book, but there's a scene that's almost the exact same. They enter the planet's atmosphere and a subroutine just kicks in. Welcome to the planet. We're going to blow you up now. But yeah, good stuff there. As it turns out, the ship itself belongs to At-Aten. I'm guessing Jod will convince the security droids that he's the good guy and turn them against the At-Atens. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. And then final one here from Matthew Palanca. He says, favorite part was the revelation that the Cinder was a mint ship. Least favorite part was how awkward Jod looked brandishing the lightsaber at the kids. But that's it.
Oh man, I'm an idiot. I didn't click read more.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
He did look awkward brandishing that lightsaber, but I will say for a pirate who's never picked up a lightsaber, probably the best he could do. And that is it for the question of the week. Thank you to everyone who got involved in the question of the week.
Buddy? What'd you think of that? Did you watch any of that?
Yeah, I watched.
How'd we do?
You did good.
All right. Do you think he had a good time talking to Matt and Nick here?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, everything's going crazy. We're not done yet. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got approval from our core audience.
Thank you
group.
for that
Thank you,
hug. That
Charlie.
made me feel great. Thanks, buddy.
There you go.
Too many feels today. Okay.
I would say it's a high emotion show in a good way. So thank you for to everybody who got involved. If you want to get involved with the question of the week, make sure to follow us at StarWarsTime.show on our Instagram page. That is where the question of the week is put out every Tuesday. So make sure to keep your eyes out for that. Respond to the post or send us a reply in our stories. And now we're going to be moving into our top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. To get involved with that, also follow us on Instagram and tag us, tag at StarWarsTime.show on all of your Instagram Star Wars art posts. That's how you get into our tagged section, and that is where I pull the top 5 from. So, Matt, let me know when you're ready.
I'm getting there, dude. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm
good.
like delirious today. Apologies, everyone. That took a lot out of me.
Good.
Okay, here we go. It's up.
There we go.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore.
Yeah. So to kick off the top 5 this week, we have Galactic Photography 66. And what Galactic Photography 66 has put together is a pretty awesome make-believe shot here of cracked mass Vader standing on top of his TIE interceptor.
That is a one wheel for Darth Vader, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the Darth Vader one wheel.
Sir.
Matt's got some experience with those one wheels.
Too much experience.
Yeah. But Vader on top of the TIE staring down at Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
Now he has the high ground, and I doubt that Kenobi can get much higher since this ship can go up pretty high. Just an awesome setup. This looks like it's like either the practical like outside area where this was shot from, or the diorama that was used by Galactic Photography 66. Really awesome.
This is practical, man. That's out in the snow. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, out in the real snow, something that we don't get a lot here in Tejas. But
I'll tell you what, looking at this, if it wasn't so heavy, I'd go pick up my not Black Series Ghost, but my 375 Ghost. It came literally Christmas Eve, Nick. You should see how big this fucking thing is.
Jeez.
It probably weighs 35 to 40 pounds.
Dude, that's pretty sick. I mean, honestly, if Charlie was a little younger, she probably could have sat on that thing and rode it around the yard.
Like you see my camera, how I have it on the stream. In my mind, I would love to mount the Ghost like in frame behind
above
me,
your head.
hanging from the ceiling. Like that would
be pretty.
Because I have nowhere else to put it, so I got to start hanging shit from the ceiling. So, all right, sorry about that. Galactic Photography 66 on Instagram.
That's right. Next up, we have Betty Ione _SW. Betty Ione's hitting us with a skeleton crew shot, and it is Jad Na
before he became a complete dick.
Yeah, like the bad guy. And right from the shot, you would say that he's protecting Neil, but really he's probably holding Neil hostage. Or
is he?
Yeah, is he really protecting Neil? I love the color saturation in this shot. I feel like Betty Ione really captured the vivid colors of the characters' outfits and the figures themselves really well. The posing is always great. Neil kind of with his little head tilt looking to the side, the gun held high by Jod. Overall, I think that Betty Ione really captured these two characters extremely well in this show.
The Neil figure is a must-own by everyone. I've got him. The whole crew sits by me now, Nick, on the desk. They've been lined up here since the first week, and I appreciate looking at them every single day, even as my other desk fills up with 1/6 scale Hot Toys that I, for some reason, can't put away. I got problems, and Hot Toys are definitely one of them. All right, Betty Ione.
You got any more of those Hot Toys?
Betty Ione _SW on Instagram.
That's right. Next up, JZHZ 6669. I mean, JZHZ is one that we've definitely been following closely.
I mean, they feel like they're so crisp and clean. They feel computer generated. I know some of it is, but he still blends it perfectly with the figure.
Yeah, just seeing JZHC's skills like get better and better over this last year in particular has been a treat. I mean, like you said, this looks like it's either computer generated or practical or like something that is not toys. But the fact that this Shadow Scout Trooper, as he called it, and that and that IPD look as incredible as it does. The background, the AT-AT off to the side in the background as well. Like, this shot is some stuff that you would put on your wall. This is some stuff that you would like have as your computer background, your phone background. Like, this is just some next level toy photography from JZHG6669 on Instagram.
100.
Beautiful stuff.
Oh, you got a noob in here, I think.
Yeah, I got a newer in here. This is Great Spartan Figures, and Matt, I picked this one out specifically for you.
That's
I know
my
you
scene.
love
And you know, Nick, over the holidays, I watched all 9 Skywalkers plus Solo and Rogue One for the rewatch. I'm now pretty much the only one left in my family that actually watches the movies. My kids completely tuned out of it. And this is completely off topic, but I actually wrote a note going through Revenge of the Sith, specifically the fight between Yoda and Palpatine. He literally quits. Yoda fucking quits. Like, I didn't realize how bad it is. I mean, he literally quits. He just he gives up. He fell down. He's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm done. Who cares? I'm out.
Yeah, he could have kept going for sure.
It's like, okay, and sorry. I'm just like, again, this movie, have fun. Those of you that think it's awesome, but it's just like he defends essentially his lightning blast, falls down. And he's like, I'm out.
Yeah, it's like, I can't go anywhere. It's like, really, man? Really?
Well, maybe he realized he no longer had the high ground, Nick, right? Maybe that's what
he
it
had
was.
The very,
clearly
very
that is taught in Jedi 101.
And he looked around and he's like, man, there's just so much more stuff to throw at me. I don't know if I can keep dodging
I'm tired. I'm fucking almost 900. I'm out.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Great Spartans figures. We're back to you now. But awesome.
Great Spartan Figures, the awesome setup in the fight between Vader and Luke Skywalker at the end of Return of the Jedi on the Death Star 2. I mean, the posing on the Vader figure is amazing. The posing on the Luke figure is amazing, capturing the picture window through which they see the destruction of the Republic fleet happening. Awesome. Overall, like, the amount of work that was done in frame with this shot is really spot on here from Great Spartan Figures.
Yeah.
So good stuff there. And to close out the top 5 for this week, one of our favorites, it's Tong Wars. And this may be one of my favorite Tong War shots. I mean, Tong always does some incredible work on the outside ships and figures with their incredible reflections off of the water pools that are near him. But this one here, showing Anakin Skywalker on the high ground, leading Republic troops into battle, the way that the troops are lined up, the use of the dioramas to create this this natural kind of granite tunnel that they're all walking through. I mean, it's just an incredible shot from Tong, and it's his 500th post from his signature location, which is really saying something. I mean, Tong's been around for a while, and I really love seeing an accomplishment like 500 posts, him hitting that milestone in this one location that always just has such incredible visuals. So Tong Wars, always a favorite. Always love having him in the top 5.
Yeah, love it. I mean, Tong and others like him, they prove why Legos are so endearing to people. I mean, any franchise that has been Legoized, you probably have some form of those Legos in your house. And I think Lego minifigures are some of the coolest looking collectibles out there in the Star Wars universe. So kudos to Tong and his subject matter. Always kicks ass.
Yeah, of course. And that is the end of the top 5. That's the end of our show. It's a highlight show for us to kick off 2025.
Woo,
Matt and I have just
awesome,
been riding
man.
the high of that, the whole
cool.
day.
So cool.
But yeah,
I'm glad I still have the week
out.
off. I'm not back to work yet, so I can just kind of enjoy this moment. And I got to set up my classes tomorrow, but big deal. I mean, I think my cat could do that at this point in time. But man, that was awesome. My sweat has almost dried up. My heart rate's finally gone back down. Again, can't thank Ravi and his team enough for giving us that amount of access, that amount of time. I mean, I'm not kidding people. Earlier today, it was 30 minutes is what we were going to get. I worked that into about 45, and then it just kept going. And I think that's a testament to Ravi's ability to carry on a conversation the way he did, and also us. I mean, I think he had a good time. And I'll follow up with Justin and his mother and see if that is the case. But I don't think there was a better way we could have returned to the live stream than what went down today on the SWTS. And it's a shame we aren't a bigger channel. I would have loved to have given him a massive audience, but those of you that might be new here, or even our longtime fans, I mean, this is who we are. This is what we do. Okay. We may not have the numbers, but we've got the connections and we can get shit done to try and entertain you. And I just ask you all to keep putting us out there. Let people know what you get from the Star Wars Time Show. Some of you, it might cost you $1.99. Those of you got to ask your questions specifically to Ravi today because of your channel membership. And I'd love to do more of that type of stuff. So let's keep this train rolling, my friend and our fans. It's a great start to 2025. Got a lot of stuff that has been on my mind since the break. I mean, Jesus, dude, the OSU Tennessee game that I went to with my family was absolutely amazing. And then the Oregon game, it's just like life has been really freaking great since the break. Yeah. And sadly, that's all going to go away next week when I return to work. And then on the 20th when all that fun stuff happens. But for now, I'm happy. I feel freaking great. I'm not going to be screaming at clouds tonight or tomorrow or Friday. This old man is pleased. One other thing I'd like to leave you all with, and if people like to watch really stupid shit on the internet that kind of parodies Star Wars, my neighbor and I came across these parodies that I've known about for years, and we may have been drinking and doing other stuff. But I cannot recommend enough to those of you that might not be super serious and like to have some fun to go check out the Arl Knotts remakes of all the Star Wars movies. It is some of the funniest, dumbest shit you will ever see. I'll just tease. 3PO is known as Creepio. He's kind of like an overlord of the galaxy. R2 only makes video game sounds. Luke is named Duke Dirt Farmer, and he's a laser master. And Death Star is known as Laser Base, where all the great laser tag tournaments take place. And Palpatine runs the greatest conglomerate of space hooters in the galaxy. Listen, it's old. The channel, I don't even think they produce anymore, but it is some of the, if you are in the right frame of mind, people, try to hear what I'm saying, you will cheese. I mean, I think I cheesed for an hour and a half straight. It was one of the most fun times I've ever had watching stupid shit on the internet. So I'll leave you with that nugget, my friends. We've always got great stuff for you here on the SWTS. Don't you forget that. Don't you forget that our home base is StarWarsTime.net over there on the interwebs. That's where we put up our content throughout the weeks. If we do our, AI podcast series with Scott and Sally, it'll go up there on our YouTube channel, which you can also find over on StarWarsTime.net. That's really the best place to send new people to kind of get in the know with the SWTS, because we got all our social links over there where you can hit the YouTube. Those of you watching the YouTube right now, let's go ahead and hit that like, leave a comment, share, clip it, do what you got to do. I'm finally looking at some chats. Thank you there, Matthew Tarpley. It sounds like Matthew Tarpley knows about Arl Knotts, so my comments did not go on deaf ears here. Thank you. I think that's Jola Fitz. Great interview. I appreciate that. Real quick, anything else in the old chat here? Appreciate it, Nova. Thank you, Linda. Thanks, Divided, Bat, Devin, SW. Props again for making that happen. All our fans that joined us today, Sir Dork, you are what make this fun. Red Dog, Be Mad. We even got Star Wars Santa in here. He's actually a pretty huge channel. I think I saw Star Wars Sith pop him, and we had quite a collective today. And hopefully that shows these other channels that we're here. We're players. We're ready to rock. Let's go. Let us in the club. Not a single other Star Wars podcast shared this. Do you know that, Nick? Not a single one. Not a single one. I'll leave it at that, okay? Let's just say my time playing nice with all the other creators is coming to an end. I gave it a year. Just, it's who we are. We're on an island. We always will be on an island, and I like it that way. There's always time for Star Wars time. Island. That's right. We don't need anybody. There's always time for Star Wars time, my friends. Don't you forget that. And if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, you can hear people like Ravi Cabot-Conyers, Wim from Skeleton Crew. You'll get some of the best speculation on the planet. And most importantly, the Force will be with you. Always.